Chapter 19. It wasn't until dawn when the sun came out that the people who had been waiting outside for the whole night returned to the black building of the Committee of Order like nighthawks returning to their nest. One by one, they returned to their rooms to catch up on sleep. They slept until noon, when everyone woke up again and ate in the dining hall. Meeting for the past few days, Xia Pingan had only met everyone in the cafeteria during lunchtime. Most of the time, he was either practicing shooting at the shooting range or reading information and documents in the reference room. Every day, his time was quite fulfilling. Xia Pingan also knew what the others were doing at night, but he couldn't help it all, so he could only stay at the headquarters in the city. Get ready. The provincial inspector will come this afternoon. After talking to you, you can prepare to fuse with the Divine Fire Realm bead. As soon as Mo Yinxiao spoke, everyone in the dining hall looked at Xia Pingan's face. Xia Pingan nodded. It doesn't matter if I fail, right? It doesn't matter. In fact, it's normal to fail when fusing with the realm bead. As an awakened one, less than 1 in 50 can successfully fuse with 3 foundation realm beads and become a summoner. But even if you can fuse with 1 or 2 beads, there are still benefits. Mo Yinxiao said, Ha kid, do your best. Li Yunzhou patted Xia Pingan's shoulder casually, as if he had been there before. When you become a summoner, you can call me Senior. Thank you for your encouragement, Senior. I'll work hard. Xia Pingan smiled. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, a black car drove through the Committee of Orders gate and stopped in front of the black building. A driver got out of the car first, then opened the back door of the black car. An elegant old lady with silver hair, wearing a light green suit, a light green hat decorated with beautiful feathers, and a dark blue handbag, got out of the car. It wasn't clear whether the old lady was 70 or 80 years old, but her complexion was very good. Her back was straight, her eyes were bright, and her face was smooth and didn't seem to have many wrinkles. The provincial inspector was actually such a lovely and elegant old lady. Xia Pingan was slightly taken aback. Young Master Mo Yin, who was beside him, had already taken large strides forward. A careful smile appeared on his face. Madam Qian, I didn't expect you to come personally this time. Was the journey smooth? It's okay. I'm old now, so I can only travel around the province. If it's too far away, the old lady said with a smile. I heard that you've been leading people to light the lanterns, and Shanghai City isn't too peaceful these few days. I can only work a little harder. As young Master Mo Yin spoke, he pointed at Xia Pingan. This is Xia Pingan. Last time, he chased after the devil rats and participated in the fire rescue. Greetings, Mrs. Qian. Xia Pingan took a step forward. The old lady's gaze fell on Xia Pingan. She looked at Xia Pingan from head to toe and smiled. What a beautiful young man. After that, she directly said to Mo Yinxiao, let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. It's ready. Mrs. Qian, please. The so-called room was a tea room in the building. There was only Xia Pingan and the old lady in the tea room. The old lady represented the Yizhou Province's Committee of Order to do a final inspection of Xia Pingan and to make a final confirmation of Xia Pingan's qualifications to fuse with the Realm Pearl. Although it was called an inspection, it was actually a conversation. Xia Pingan thought that this kind of conversation would be very serious and that the topic would not be pleasant. He thought that the person who came would be a serious and rigid middle-aged man. Unexpectedly, after entering the tea room, the old lady did not ask any strange questions. Instead, she chatted with Xia Pingan about some relaxing topics while drinking tea. Some of the topics were even a little off-topic, such as cooking, movies, flowers, plants, small animals, scenery, travel, gossip in the entertainment circle, Xia Pingan's sister, Xia Ning, and how Xia Pingan used balloons to make small animals. The old lady was talkative, humorous, and gentle. The two of them unknowingly chatted for more than half an hour. After finishing the pot of tea, the old lady ended the conversation. Young man, that's all for now. I'm leaving. It was nice chatting with you. Let's talk again in the future. Prepare to fuse with the Divine Fire Realm Pearl. I think you can succeed. It was a bit too childish to end it like this. This kind of inspection was completely unnecessary. Xia Pingan was a little confused, but he still nodded politely. Thank you. I'll try my best. The old lady picked up her handbag, stood up, and walked to the door. When she was about to open the door, she suddenly turned around, looked into Xia Pingan's eyes, and asked, "You killed those people one by one. That person even begged you in the bathtub. Have you ever regretted it?" With this sentence, the relaxed atmosphere in the room disappeared in an instant. Time seemed to have stopped. The old lady's bright eyes hid an irresistible sharpness at this moment. Cold sweat covered Xia Pingan's back. Xia Pingan suddenly felt that he was as transparent as glass in front of this old lady. Only after a few seconds, Xia Pingan revealed a faint smile as he calmly faced the old lady's eyes. Everyone has to pay a price for everything they do. They could fool and trample on the law, but they could not fool and trample on the justice and retribution. I'm their law. I'm willing to bear any consequences. The only thing I regret is that I was not capable enough back then. Therefore, I let those people live a few more days and wasted some of the world's food. It won't happen again in the future. Mrs. Qian, you can send someone to take me away now. I'll wait here. Let bygones be bygones. The law is the principle of the world. However, there are many times in this world where there is no reason to talk about. Simple reason is based on the fist. Complicated reason is based on the human heart. You only use complicated means to talk about simple reason with them. I'm just an old woman. I can't do so much. Those are the matters of the police. What I can do is to choose the right person to light the lantern. The old lady's bright eyes instantly retracted and became gentle again. She smiled. "What's wrong, young man? Do you want an old lady like me to go downstairs alone?" Xia Pingan took a deep breath. "I'll send you off." Xia Pingan and Mo Yin Xiao, who was waiting at the door, sent the old lady downstairs. They watched as the old lady got into the car. The chauffeur drove the old lady away from the committee of order. Madame Qian never takes more than 5 minutes to inspect a newcomer. Today, she actually drank tea with you for more than half an hour. Mo Yinxiao touched his chin and looked at Xia Pingan in surprise. "Is Madame Qian also a summoner?" Xia Pingan asked. "No, Madame Qian is an awakened one. She is the only awakened one in the entire Izhou province who has mastered the B-level mind-reading ability." Xia Pingan, who had experienced the awakening ability test, suddenly understood. B-level? No wonder she was so abnormal. The Divine Fire Realm bead is already in Cultivation Room 999. You can fuse with it now. 2 minutes later, Xia Pingan arrived at the room 999 on the 9th floor of the building. He pushed open the door, walked in, and closed the door. There were no windows in the room. There was only natural light at the top of the room, which was guided into the room by the complex optical transmission system in the building. The room was clean, just like a yoga room. A table was placed in the middle of the room. There was a purple wooden box on the table and a meditation cushion on the ground beside the table. Xia Pingan came to the table and sat down cross-legged. He knew that there was a Divine Fire Realm bead in the box. However, he was not in a hurry to open it. Instead, he first recalled what he knew and the knowledge about realm beads that he had learned here in the past few days. The abilities of all the summoners in this world came from realm beads. Realm beads came in all shapes and sizes. Different realm beads brought different abilities to the summoner. These realm beads came from the otherworld creatures that invaded the space. Legend had it that the realm beads had divine text that no one could understand. The divine text was a mysterious symbol, which was the key to distinguishing different realm beads. In order to become a summoner, one must complete the fusion of 3 realm beads. These 3 realm beads were the Divine Fire Realm bead, the Divine Altar Realm bead, and the Deity Realm bead. Only those who completely fused these 3 realm beads could become a real summoner. If any of these 3 realm beads failed to fuse, that person would lose the qualification to become a summoner forever. However, even if one did not become a summoner, as long as 1 or 2 realm beads could fuse, there would be many benefits. If the fusion was successful, one would have the opportunity to be imbued with divine power. Today, he was going to fuse the first realm bead, the Divine Fire Realm bead. A person only had 1 chance to fuse the same type of realm bead. It was impossible to fuse it a second time. Fusing the realm beads had the mystery of separation. This mystery of separation was like the mystery of separation after the reincarnation of living creatures in the legends. As soon as they were in their mother's womb, they would forget about their previous life. It was the same for fusing the realm beads. When a person fused with the realm beads and woke up, they would completely forget what happened after the fusion. No matter what method they used, they would not be able to remember. Those who succeeded in fusing the realm beads would master all kinds of secret methods and summoning positions provided by the realm beads. There were two results of failure. One was that they would live, and the other was that they would explode and die. The final result of exploding one's head was very terrifying. This was also the origin of the summoner's tradition of tattoos. Because the corpse's head was gone, if a summoner's head exploded while fusing with the realm beads, then the tattoos on his body would allow others to identify him. Due to the existence of the mystery of separation, nobody knew what would happen after fusing with the realm beads. There was no guidance or help. One could only rely on himself. However, Xiao Pingon saw some records in the documents of the Order Clerks Union. In history, some powerful summoners remembered some things after fusing with the realm bead and left behind some words. From those words, it could be seen that after fusing with the realm bead, they would enter a mysterious world, just like experiencing a realistic dream. They would experience some special things, and a realm bead seemed to be a mysterious mission. Xiao Pingon gradually calmed down after recalling all the knowledge about the fusion of realm pearls in his mind. He took a deep breath and opened the box in front of him with a heart that was about to explode with curiosity. A bead slightly bigger than a ping-pong ball and giving off a mysterious glow was lying in the box covered with dark green velvet. That realm bead seemed to be made of colored glass and was translucent. Clouds and mist were rolling inside the realm bead, flickering with a layer of dark red brilliance as if a flame was faintly penetrating through the bead. Some pale, golden immortal characters that could only be understood by summoners in this world were looming in the brilliance of the realm bead. At the sight of the immortal characters inside the realm bead, Xiao Pingon's eyes widened at once. His heart pounded fiercely as he couldn't help swallowing his saliva. The history of this world was completely different from that of Xiao Pingon. The characters of Huaxia in this world were based on another hieroglyphic writing system. In Xiao Pingon's memory, the characters of Huaxia in this world were a bit similar to a variant of the nice writing system that had been passed down from ancient times by the Sani people of the ethnic group on Earth. When Xiao Pingon studied the history and culture of ethnic minorities in China, he found that the nice writing system passed down from ancient times by the Sani people of Yunnan was very interesting. The nice writing system passed down by the Sani people had nearly 6,000 characters. After thousands of years, it still maintained the original appearance of the most ancient characters. Compared with the symbols carved on the colored pottery unearthed in Banpo, Xin, more than 75% of the characters were similar to the symbols carved on the hilt-shaped stone ornaments, Lonely Soul in the Wilderness, in the ruins of Wuyang County, Hunan Province. Some characters were even similar to Khitan language. The characters of Huaxiao in this world were also similar to nice. Therefore, no one could understand the mysterious immortal characters in the realm bead. Even if they could, no one would know the meaning of the immortal characters, because the history and legends of this world were completely different from those of Earth after Goddess Niwa created humans. However, in Xiao Pingon's eyes, the immortal characters in the realm bead that no one could understand were just 3 strokes of Xiaozhuan written from top to bottom. Sui, human, clan. Chapter 20. Serene was the first person to bring the light of fire to the Huaxia civilization and mankind. According to Western legends, it was Prometheus who brought fire and light to mankind. However, Prometheus was a god and not a human. However, in Huaxia, it was Serene, the ancestor of Huaxia, who was the first to invent drilling wood to make fire and obtain the fire seed. Serene was a human and not a god. Thus, the genetic divide between civilizations was created. One was a god who ruled over everything, while the other was a man who could also become a god. Because the timeline was completely different, this world didn't have goddess Niwa mending the sky. Therefore, this world didn't have the legend of swearing at all. What do the words swearing on this divine fire realm bead mean? Could it be that swearing had something to do with igniting the godly fire of summoners? The similarity between the two was that they were both fire. Xiaoping's heart was in turmoil. Holding the realm bead, he was almost stunned. The impact of this small realm bead on Xiaoping was no less than the impact of this world on Xiaoping over the past 20 years. Xiaoping's heart was beating wildly. He could faintly feel that a door to a new world was slowly opening for him. The world behind the door made him tremble. While Xiaoping was in a daze, a huge display screen slid down from the wall in front of Xiaoping. Mo Yinshao's face appeared on the electronic display screen, and his voice suddenly sounded in the room. There were communication and monitoring devices in this room, so that people outside could know what was going on in the room. The people in a room could also communicate and consult with the outside world through the devices. For people who were preparing to fuse with the realm bead for the first time, this arrangement was more friendly. This was because many people were very nervous and at a loss when they fused with the realm bead for the first time. Xiaoping, this is the divine fire realm bead in front of you. Before you start fusing with it, you don't have to be nervous. Summoners are mysterious and powerful. Many people think that summoners are untouchable existences and have doubts and even feel inferior. However, in reality, as long as one's mind is normal and healthy, regardless of their status, they have the possibility of becoming a summoner after the age of 18 and can fuse with the realm bead. In ancient times, some powerful summoners were illiterate before they became summoners, so you don't have to be nervous. At this time, Xiaoping, who was staring at the realm bead in his hand, was still immersed in the shock brought by the 3 words on the realm bead. His thoughts were a little scattered. Mo Yinshao's words just echoed in his ears. He didn't even look up at the display screen in front of him. Because of the mystery of the boundary, although I've fused with the divine fire realm bead before, I can't tell you what will happen after you fuse with the realm bead. I can't tell you how to ignite your divine fire. The mystery of the boundary is a law that all summoners find difficult to overcome. However, since those uneducated ordinary people in ancient times could fuse with the realm bead and become summoners, you have to believe that you're not worse than them. Have this confidence. Mo Yinshao's voice echoed in the room. In a hall in the information center of the building, a huge electronic monitor screen was showing the situation in room 999. Mo Yinshao, who was standing in the hall, looked at Xiaoping on the huge electronic monitor screen in the hall, who was holding the realm bead and sitting motionlessly in front of the table. He thought that Xiaoping was a little nervous, so he was giving him instructions. 2,000 years ago, Hu Yuanin, a legendary summoner of the first generation in Huaxia, lived for more than 700 years. Hu Yuanin was originally a shepherd. He accidentally picked up a realm bead and began to fuse with it. Before he died, he left a last sentence to all summoners. That sentence has become the standard for all summoners. Now, I'll give that sentence to you. Mo Yinshao's gaze swept across Xiaoping's lowered face on the screen, and then he said in a deep voice, "Every realm bead is a mission, a life, a legend. To become a summoner is to fulfill your mission, pursue those fading legends, condense your own divine kingdom, and bring the light of the divine kingdom to the world to illuminate the future of Huaxia and the human race." This is the sentence that the legendary summoner Hu Yuanin left for all summoners. I hope it can inspire you. Hearing this sentence, Xiaoping suddenly raised his head on the huge monitor in the hall and looked at Mo Yinshao. "Thank you. Just now I saw the realm bead for the first time, and I couldn't help but be attracted to it. Now that I'm almost ready, I can fuse with it. Any other questions?" "No." Mo Yinshao also let out a sigh of relief. That sentence just now is the motto of many summoners, and is also the key for summoners to understand the realm bead and the power of summoners. Now, if you're ready, you can pierce your finger with the sterilized silver nail in the box and drip your blood on the realm bead. Then, you can start the fusion. Xiaoping looked at the box containing the realm bead. There was indeed a small silver nail in the box. He took a deep breath and finally calmed himself down. Then, he took out the silver nail and pierced his finger with it, dripping a few drops of blood on the realm bead of divine fire. The drop of blood was absorbed by the realm bead in the blink of an eye. Then, the realm bead of divine fire suddenly gave out a bright light, and a thick blood-red fog floated out, wrapping Xia Pingan up like a huge cocoon of light and an egg. In a short while, Xia Pingan's figure gradually disappeared from room 999, leaving only a huge round ball flashing red light on the electronic screen in the hall. The situation inside the round ball could not be perceived from the outside. Inside the sphere, Xia Pingan felt his eyelids getting heavier and heavier. Unknowingly, his entire consciousness had sunk into deep darkness, entering that mysterious and unpredictable dreamscape. Not knowing how long had passed, with a boom in his head, Xia Pingan regained his senses. He opened his eyes at once and found that he was no longer in room 999, but in a strange place on a slope outside the entrance of a mountain cave. It was sunny all around. The sky was so blue that it looked like a fake one. The air was filled with the smell of fresh negative ions. At the foot of the slope was a boundless forest and wilderness. There was a river nearby and endless mountains in the distance. There were many people around. They were all busy, looking at their bodies wrapped in leaves, grass, and animal hides. And what they were doing, Xia Pingan found that he seemed to be in an ancient tribe. Everyone was busy. Some were using stones to cut meat. Some were collecting firewood from the wilderness. Some were picking fruits from the trees. And some were grinding stone tools. All of them had disheveled hair and were only wearing clothes made of leaves and animal skins. They didn't have shoes, just like savages. On the nearby trees, there were nests built on the trees. Many men were patrolling around the tribe with sharpened wooden spears that had been burned with charcoal. Xia Pingan was also one of these people. He looked at his naked upper body and the animal skin around his waist, as well as the wooden spear in his hand and his messy long hair. He immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. Was this a dream? He pinched his hand. The pain was no different from the pain in his body. He tried to hold his breath for a while, but in just a short while, Xia Pingan's face turned red. His lungs had reached their limit, and his face was red. He gently pricked his finger with the carbonized tip of the wooden spear in his hand. He felt a stabbing pain. Then, drops of blood appeared on his finger. This stabbing pain was exactly the same as when he pricked his finger with a silver nail to fuse with the realm bead. This was not a dream. A dream would not be so real. The feeling here was exactly the same as the real world. If he died in this world, Xia Pingan suspected that he might never wake up again. But in the outside world, his head might explode. This might be the reason why summoners failed to fuse with the realm bead and exploded their heads, because they died in this world. Was this the world he entered after fusing with the realm bead? The mysterious world of summoners and realm beads finally unfolded in front of Xia Pingan. Xia Pingan's heart beat wildly. He carefully observed the surrounding environment. Chapter 21. As Xia Pingan, who had obtained a master's degree in history from Yuanminjuan Vocational and Technical College in his previous life, he could confirm that this tribe was an ancient tribe in the Paleolithic Age only by glancing at it for a few times. Judging from the looks of the tribe, they were the ancestors of Huaxia people. Given the vegetation and trees around the tribe, this tribe should be located in an area north of the Yangtze River. Xia Pingan saw familiar horse chestnut trees, neem trees, toadstools, and birches in the surrounding woods. There were also fiery thorns, wheat plums, and other shrubs on the nearby hillsides. Xia Pingan didn't agree with some historians who use stone grinding as the standard to divide the Paleolithic Age. Such a standard was rigid and ridiculous, which was different from the objective development of history. According to such standards, if the prehistoric people used various methods to make stone tools, such as touching anvil, throwing, and hammering, it meant that they lived in the Paleolithic Age. If a prehistoric person ground a stone, he would live in the Neolithic Age. Under such standards, if some prehistoric people in the same tribe were not satisfied with stone tools that were invented by historians, such as touching anvil, throwing, hammering, and hammering, they would simply grind the stone. Then, according to the standards of some historians, Wouldn't that tribe live in both the Paleolithic Age and the Neolithic Age? The standard for the division of the two eras was the assumption that all the ancients would only hammer, throw, strike, beat, and torment the stones, and would not simply grind them. In Xiaoping's opinion, such a standard was too rigid. It was made under the premise that none of the prehistoric people were smart. Xiaoping insisted that the standard to divide the prehistoric times was whether the prehistoric people had completely mastered fire, which was the key energy source to transform and conquer nature. Those prehistoric people who could make use of the fire seeds produced by thunder, fire, and volcanic eruptions lived in the old fire seed age. Those who could make fire themselves lived in the Neolithic Age. Serene was the only recorded pioneer of the Neolithic Age. It was a great contribution made by the ancestors of Huaxia to the entire human civilization. Mastering fire meant mastering the most important energy source of this era. Their productivity would be greatly improved. They could use fire to make all kinds of tools and pottery, and process all kinds of food. The population of the tribe could stabilize and multiply, and agricultural production would appear. Thinking of the words Serene on the realm pearl, Xiaoping's heart skipped a beat. Could it be? At this moment, a man wearing animal skin walked out of the cave and began to beat the tree drum at the entrance of the cave with a wooden stick. The tree drum was a hollow old tree trunk. When it was struck with wood, the tree trunk would make thumping sounds that could travel very far. Hearing that voice, all the people in the tribe who were still busy gathered at the hillside. In just a moment, the hillside was filled with people. There were thousands of them, men, women, old and young. Xiaoping also followed the crowd and gathered over. Another group of people rushed out of the cave. The people who came out of the cave were all strong men and women. They were wrapped in animal skins and held spears in their hands. Walking at the front was an old man with a head full of white hair, a walking stick in his hand, and a necklace made of animal bones around his neck. Behind the old man, a tall man with disheveled hair was escorted out of the cave by a rope made of vines. With a gloomy look, the man staggered. The old man with the walking stick raised his hands high. The crowd at the entrance of the cave became quiet at once. The old man with the necklace made of animal bones glanced around with a mournful look before exclaiming at the entrance of the cave, "God is punishing us. The immortal fire of our tribe has been extinguished." The crowd was in an uproar. At once, some people started to kneel down and pray. Some even burst into tears. On the hillside with thousands of people, countless people cried loudly as if it was the end of the world. Without the immortal fire, how can we resist the terrifying darkness that swallows the sky and the earth? Without the immortal fire, the ferocious beasts, tigers, wolves, and poisonous insects will swallow us up and bite us to death when we sleep. Without the immortal fire, the winter is coming. Countless of our tribesmen will freeze to death. The old man with the necklace made of animal bones looked up at the sky and cried, "Without the immortal fire, our warriors can't make sharp and hard wooden spears. Without the immortal fire, we can only continue to eat raw and cold beast meat. Food can't be stored for too long. Our bodies will be weak and we will get diseases. Our children will no longer be strong and it will be difficult for them to grow up." The cries on the hillside resounded throughout the world. For such a tribe, the fire was the treasure of the entire tribe. It was the most precious thing and the only source of energy that people could control. Without the fire, the entire tribe could hardly survive in the wasteland and would face all kinds of difficulties. This man is the strongest warrior of our tribe. We gave him the responsibility of guarding the immortal fire, but he accidentally fell asleep last night and caused our immortal fire to extinguish. Kill him! Kill him! Kill him! Numerous people on the hillside roared as they glared at the man who was tied up. The man who was tied up wept bitterly as he knelt on the ground and cried, "Chieftain, I'm willing to atone for my crimes with my life. But before I die, please let me and the other warriors bring back the tinder of the immortal fire. Please let me die on the way to atone for my crimes." The warrior who was weeping bitterly and regretfully didn't calm down the furious crowd. Because in everyone's eyes, the value of the tinder was much higher than a person's life. He has to be responsible for his crimes. But before we punish him, our tribe needs a team of brave warriors to cross the numerous mountains in the distance and go to the mountain pass where the flame gushes out of the ground to bring back the tinder of the immortal fire. The old man pointed at the mountains in the distance as he said in a heavy and sorrowful voice. Looking at the mountains in the distance, countless people fell silent. There were countless ferocious beasts in the mountains, and the journey was difficult. Moreover, it was said that the mountain pass where the flame gushed out of the ground was also very dangerous. To bring back the immortal fire from the mountains in the distance was a mission. For those who went there, they might not be able to successfully bring back the tinder, even if they had a slim chance of survival. Many tribes sent warriors to bring back the immortal fire, but in the end, there was no news of them, and they never came back. Most of the time, many teams had to be sent out continuously to bring back a fire seed. Only then would one team be able to successfully bring back a fire seed. For all the warriors, this was the most difficult and dangerous test of this era. For the sake of a tinder between the rise and fall of the sun and the moon, there are people dying almost every day. I'm already old. This tribe needs a new chieftain. The warrior who can bring back the immortal fire this time can replace me and become the next chieftain of our tribe. Soon after the old man finished his words, warriors from the crowd who had been hesitating stood out one after another and were willing to cross the mountains to bring back the tinder of the immortal fire. Xiao Pingan had been watching on the side. At this moment, when he thought of the 3 words serene on the realm bead, Xiao Pingan finally knew what he had to do. If his understanding was correct, he had to take on the role of serene and the historical mission of serene on this occasion. Xiao Pingan was thrilled as an indescribable emotion and restlessness surged in his body. Under the gaze of the public, Xiao Pingan walked out of the crowd as he took a few steps forward and said loudly, "Chieftain, there's no need to sacrifice the warriors of our tribe. Give me half a day, and I will bring back the immortal fire, so that the immortal fire of our tribe will never be extinguished." The crowd was in an uproar as they stared at Xiao Pingan in disbelief. The chieftain also glared at Xiao Pingan. "Do you know what you're talking about? If I can't do it, please punish me, chieftain. I'm willing to accept any punishment." Are you waiting for the immortal fire brought by the heavenly thunder? The old man took the lead to take a look at the sunny sky before glaring at Xiao Pingan. Nobody knows when the heavenly fire will arrive. It might only happen after the heavy snowfall when the leaves turn green many times. I'm not waiting for the immortal fire. I don't need to wait for the immortal fire. I can produce the immortal fire by myself. Xiao Pingan said loudly. The entire tribe was in an uproar. Everyone looked at Xiao Pingan in shock. In the eyes of the people in the tribe, this person who stood up and said such words was simply crazy. Without waiting for the heavenly fire, without gathering the earthly fire, how could he produce the divine fire? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Fire was an immortal object. How could a man produce an immortal object? Wouldn't that make a man the same as a god? If you can do it, you're the one sent by the heavens to bring us the immortal fire. The entire tribe will listen to you in the future. The old man said straightforwardly. If you can't do it, you'll follow those warriors over the mountains to get the immortal fire. Okay. Xiao Pingan smiled as he looked around. Everyone can watch how I produce the immortal fire in our tribe. I need to prepare some tools. I'll give you whatever you need. The chieftain said directly. He didn't believe that Xiao Pingan could produce the immortal fire with just some tools. He just wanted to see what trick Xiao Pingan was playing. The entire tribe became curious. Xiao Pingan didn't care what they thought as he began to prepare the tools under everyone's eyes. Xiao Pingan first found a wooden stick that was a few feet long. He then pulled apart the soft vines and made a rope. He tied a rope to both sides of the wooden stick and pulled it tight. However, the wooden stick didn't bend. He made it into a simple tool that was similar to a zither bow. After that, Xiao Pingan found a piece of dry firewood in the cave. It was a short, dry stick. He sharpened one end of the dry stick on a rock and then used a stone chisel to cut a hole in the firewood. He made another small hole next to the hole he had made. After that, Xiao Pingan found a piece of dry wood and had the people next to him use stones to beat the dry wood until it became fine and fibrous. After that, Xiao Pingan began to demonstrate how to drill the wood to start a fire. He stepped on the hole in the wood and inserted the sharpened wooden stick into the hole. He then wrapped the bough-like rope around the short stick. As Xiao Pingan pulled the wooden stick, the sharpened short stick rapidly rotated and rubbed against the wooden hole. Drilling the wood to start a fire was a piece of cake for Xiao Pingan. More than 10 minutes later, under the astonished gazes of everyone, as Xiao Pingan's movements became more and more proficient, the wooden board with holes started to smoke. The smoking wood shavings leaked out from the wooden holes on the side and landed on the pile of dried grass and wood that had been hammered into a velvety state. Smoke gradually rose from the pile of dry, furry vegetation. Xiao Pingan gently blew on it with his mouth, and a moment later, a flame finally emerged from the small pile of vegetation. Success! The people in the tribe were dumbfounded as if they had witnessed a miracle. Xiao Pingan continued to add fine firewood to the flame. After a while, he started a raging bonfire on the spot. Sacred fire. The sacred fire has been ignited. The whole tribe was in an uproar. They looked at Xiao Pingan as if they were looking at a god. What Xiao Pingan had just done was tantamount to a magic show in front of everyone in the tribe. The precious sacred fire had been conjured in Xiao Pingan's hands. The sacred fire did not come from the sky or the earth, but from themselves. It had been conjured in Xiao Pingan's hands. In everyone's eyes, this was a miracle comparable to the power of heaven and earth. The tribal chief was also excited. He even put his hand on the burning flame to test the temperature. He wanted to see if the fire was real. Countless people rushed towards Xiao Pingan and surrounded Xiao Pingan. They were all very excited and asked how he could conjure the sacred fire. Xiao Pingan looked at the excited crowd and said softly, "Don't be so excited. I can teach you." Then Xiao Pingan picked out a few warriors and young people, including the person who was tied up, and let them follow him to learn how to drill wood to make fire. The second person learned, the third learned, and the whole tribe was in an uproar. In the next few days, many neighboring tribes heard that someone in the tribe could conjure sacred fire and sent people to the tribe to learn. Xiao Pingan did not hide anything. As long as people came to learn, he would teach them the skill of drilling wood to make fire. A few days later, Xiao Pingan had a resounding name in all the surrounding tribes, serene. Before this, he had no name. The people in the tribe did not have a name. Serene was a person who could use the method of drilling wood to make fire. The meaning of serene was similar to that of a god. At this time, the people in the tribe did not have a name. Xiao Pingan became the first person to have a name. Chapter 22. Unknowingly, more than an hour had passed. In the lobby of the information center, other than Mo Yanxiao, Tu Palu, Chao Xinghua, and Qing and Fong Lingshan had also arrived. They were either standing or sitting in the lobby, watching the scene in room 999 on the screen. Dr. Huang and Lao Zhou had also arrived. The cocoon of light on the screen remained motionless for more than an hour. For every summoner, this was the most important and dangerous moment in their lives. Some people could break out of the cocoon of light and become a summoner. Some people would break out of the cocoon and become a summoner. Some people's heads would explode when the cocoon of light shattered. Everything was unknown. The guy in the cocoon of light was not very familiar with them, but no matter what, he was still their colleague, or perhaps he could become their colleague. Everyone's mood at this moment was a little like those waiting outside the emergency room, and also a little like those waiting for the results of a lottery. They were a little nervous, but also a little expectant. This mystery of boundary separation is really powerful. I also tried to fuse with the boundary pearl in the past, but I don't know why a smart and outstanding person like me couldn't even pass the first stage. I couldn't even fuse with the divine fire boundary pearl and failed. It became a lifelong regret. Lao Zhou and Mo Yanxiao were talking, sighing with emotion about their experiences in the past. Back then, Lao Zhou was the top scorer in the college entrance examination. He was proud and arrogant, and his lifelong goal was to become a summoner. He also passed the physical examination for the college entrance examination and had the opportunity to fuse with the boundary pearl. Unexpectedly, Lao Zhou failed in the first stage and lost the opportunity to become a summoner forever. It was this failure that caused Lao Zhou's personality to change greatly. He was depressed for a long time, and since then, he was no longer proud and arrogant. Since ancient times, how many self-proclaimed geniuses have stopped at the first stage? No one knows what will happen after they begin to fuse with the realm beads. After fusing with the realm beads, the result will all depend on the individual. Young Master Mo Yin comforted. Do you think that kid can pass this stage? I'm not guessing. Time will tell. Mo Yin Xiao shook his head. At this moment, the door to the hall was pushed open. Li Yinzhou walked in timidly and looked around. The inspector from the provincial department should have left, right? No one paid him any attention. The inspectors sent by the provincial department were all awakened ones with mind-reading abilities. No one wanted to stay with someone with such a powerful mind-reading ability. If they were to stay with someone like that, they might be able to dig out the secrets in one's heart in the blink of an eye. Therefore, when Mrs. Qian arrived, other than Mo Yin Xiao and Xia Pingan, who had to show up to receive her, everyone in the Special Operations Division consciously disappeared. They only reappeared after Mrs. Qian left. Li Yinzhou had been hiding for too long. He only came out now. Other than saying that he had a guilty conscience and was afraid of meeting people, no one knew what else to say. Seeing that there were no outsiders here, Li Yinzhou straightened his back and walked to Mo Yin Xiao's side. With his hands behind his back, he looked at the big screen in the hall and coughed lightly. This kid, as a senior, I originally wanted to guide him on the things he should pay attention to before fusing with the boundary pearl. I didn't expect this kid to move so quickly. Well, since he doesn't have the fortune, then it's up to his luck. Someone already guided him just now. Lao Zhou saw that Li Yunzhou was pretending to be a big shot and couldn't help but say, "Oh, is that so? Since someone has already guided him, then there shouldn't be a problem. I think this kid's aptitude is not bad. He should be able to fuse with the divine fire boundary pearl." Li Yunzhou had the temperament of a judge and didn't blush at all. Even if he can't become a summoner in the end, as long as he can ignite the divine fire, he will be able to obtain a chance to be imbued with divine power. His physical strength will be greatly improved, his close combat ability will improve by leaps and bounds, and his chances of survival will increase greatly. He will be a great help to our Special Operations Division. At least he won't be a burden. As long as he can ignite the divine fire, there will be a lot of benefits. In the past, Lao Zhou said with envy and regret. Lao Zhou, you don't have to be envious. You're an uncle now. Everyone has their own area of expertise. Summoning isn't your area of expertise. Li Yinzhou glanced at Lao Zhou and chuckled. Lao Zhou realized that talking to this bastard Li Yinzhou was a mistake. This bastard was asking for a beating. Lao Zhou snorted coldly and glanced at Li Yinzhou. He walked to the side and found a sofa to sit down, no longer talking to Li Yinzhou. Li Yinzhou realized that there was no one around him to talk to, so he tried to find a topic to talk to Mo Yin Xiao. Boss, I heard that very few summoners can achieve a perfect fusion after fusing with the divine fire boundary pearl for the first time. Have you seen anyone like that? Yes. Mo Yin Xiao nodded, but his eyes were still fixed on the screen. Although there aren't many people like that, it's not like there aren't any. Although everyone is fusing with the divine fire boundary pearl, different people will receive different amounts of divine power this time. Normally, those who successfully fuse with the divine fire boundary pearl will only receive 8 or 9 points of divine power. Some of the average ones will receive 10 or 11 points of divine power. The outstanding ones will receive 12 or 13 points of divine power, and the top ones will receive more than 13 points of divine power. Perfect fusion with the divine fire boundary pearl will give you 16 points of divine power, and the effects of divine power infusion will be stronger than others. Yeah, when I fused with the divine fire boundary pearl, I received 14 points of divine power. I almost fused with it perfectly. Li Yinzhou sighed. His voice was a little loud, and his eyes glanced at Feng Lingshan and Enqing. Really? Why did you only receive 8 points of divine power when you first fused with the divine fire boundary pearl? Mo Yin Xiao exposed him without any hesitation. Ahem, ahem, ahem. Maybe I got the information wrong. Li Yinzhou continued to boast about not paying taxes. I remember it was 14 points. Otherwise, I wouldn't be so strong. If you have to pay taxes for boasting, someone would have gone bankrupt long ago. Chao Xinghua said coldly. Old Chao, are you jealous of me? What happened last time? F***ck off. Chao Xinghua didn't give Li Yunzhou any chance to speak. Instead, he blocked Li Yunzhou's remaining words. Perfect fusion might depend on luck. I've seen a perfect fusion with the divine fire boundary pearl once before. Tu Polu said from the side. He seemed to be reminiscing. The person who could perfectly fuse with the divine fire boundary pearl would be the first to complete the fusion and would take the shortest time. Furthermore, after the fusion, when the light cocoon broke, the sound would be like the chime of jade, which would invigorate one's spirit. The person who fused with the divine fire boundary pearl would be covered in golden light. The light effect was completely different from that of other people who had successfully fused with the divine fire boundary pearl. Sounds interesting, Li Yunzhou muttered. Just as Li Yunzhou finished speaking, a crisp chime suddenly sounded from the hall. Dang! It was long and pleasant to the ears. It was like the chime of jade, which invigorated one's spirit. What's that sound? Li Yunzhou was stunned. He even twisted his neck to look around like an idiot. Just now, he only cared about pretending to be an idiot and glancing around. He didn't pay much attention to the display in the hall. Therefore, he didn't notice the abnormality on the display. As for the others, they had already fixed their eyes on the display in the hall. In room 999, Xiaopingan's light cocoon broke into pieces at once. After that, he gave out brilliant golden light all over. Then, the entire room was illuminated by the golden light from Xiaopingan's body. Everyone in the hall was dumbfounded at this moment. The huge display was also covered in golden light, which made the entire hall look like room 999. Is this the perfect fusion? The golden light lasted for 2 minutes before disappearing. Then, a golden flame appeared. The golden flame circled around Xiaopingan for a few rounds in a clockwise direction before entering Xiaopingan's head. This is a perfect fusion, Li Yunzhou's stammering voice echoed in the hall. Chapter 23. With his eyes closed, Xiaopingan was oblivious to the outside world. After the ancient tribe turned into a cloud of light and disappeared, Xiaopingan felt his body warm up. There was a wave of energy washing his body, making him feel numb. It was like there was a gentle current flowing through his body. It was indescribably comfortable. Being cleansed by that wisp of energy, Xiaopingan felt that his flesh, tendons, meridians, and bones were peeled off layer by layer. Some impurities in his body were pushed out of his body by that wisp of energy. When the comfortable feeling completely disappeared, Xiaopingan immediately saw that there was a mysterious space in his sea of consciousness. There was a faint black fog in that space, and in the black fog, there seemed to be an illuminated cave. A golden flame was burning on the ground of the mountain cave. The light of the golden flame drove away the darkness in his mind sea and opened up a small light zone in his mind sea. Behind the golden flame, there was a white jade relief of Serene with a far ancient chi. The figure on the white jade relief was the same color as the background. However, there was a vivid, brilliant flame totem behind Serene. Above the flame totem and the stony wall, there were 16 golden spherical light spots, which were larger than fireflies and as large as pigeon eggs. The light spots were surrounded by boundless black fog. Xiaopingan touched one of the light spots with his consciousness. Closely after that, the light spot floated away and floated back. Interesting. When Zhang Tai touched the golden flame with his consciousness, he didn't receive any response. When Xiaopingan touched the sculpture of Serene on the stony wall, Xiaopingan didn't feel any response. However, when he touched the vivid flame totems behind Serene's sculpture, Xiaopingan felt that they were empty. He felt that something could be filled in them. It seems that I have gained a lot this time. Xiao Pingan's consciousness moved. After thinking about it for a short while, he didn't do anything rashly. Instead, he exited this mysterious realm in his mind, and opened his eyes. He was still in room number 999. Nothing had changed in the room. Isn't it said that the realm bead is separated by realms? However, after opening his eyes, Xiao Pingan found that he could remember everything that happened in the realm bead. The experience that I taught people to make fire by drilling wood as a swear-in the realm bead was still vivid in my mind. The realm separated by realms doesn't work on me? The so-called fusion of a mortal fire realm bead refer to the process that Zhang Tai drilled wood to make fire for humans in the identity of swearing. This process was also a heavy history of Hua people. Xiao Pingan's heart pounded as if he was enlightened. However, he remained calm. Feeling a bit uncomfortable, Xiao Pingan took a look at his hand as he found a layer of grayish-black stuff on the back of his hand. It looked like that he had not taken a bath for half a year. Therefore, he felt uncomfortable all over. However, Xiao Pingan was not sure about the time, because he felt that many days had passed in the realm bead. Xiao Pingan, congratulations on successfully integrating with the realm bead. Mo Yinshao's voice sounded in the room as Mo Yinshao's face appeared on the screen. Xiao Pingan saw a bit sincere happiness from Mo Yinshao's face. "Oh, thanks, what's the time now?" Xiao Pingan asked. "It's been less than 2 hours since you entered room number 999. Only less than 2 hours? I've stayed in the realm bead for a long time. It seems that the flow of time in the realm bead is completely different from that in the real world. What happened in the realm bead just now is really like a pipe dream. Xiao Pingan, how do you feel now? Do you feel uncomfortable?" Dr. Huang asked out of concern as his face appeared on the screen. "I'm fine, but there's a layer of grayish-black stuff on the surface of my skin. That's the impurities, toxins, and impurities that were expelled from your body after being infused with divine strength. You just need to take a bath. Don't worry," Dr. Huang said with a smile. "After becoming a summoner, due to the divine strength infusing with divine strength, your body will go through the process of expelling impurities from your body 3 times in succession. After that, even if you successfully integrate with the realm bead and obtain divine strength infusing with divine strength in the future, there will be no more impurities being expelled from your body." "Okay, thank you, Dr. Huang." Xiao Pingan nodded. "Boy, did you get 16 points of divine strength after integrating with the divine fire realm bead this time?" Li Yunzhou's face suddenly squeezed out from the side. A big face appeared on the screen, and his nostrils were as big as fists. Li Yunzhou winked at Xiao Pingan. "Boy, you did well. You didn't waste my previous teachings." "Your teachings? Did they?" Xiao Pingan's expression was calm. "I feel that my sea of consciousness is connected to a mysterious place. There is a burning flame in that place, and there are 16 small balls of light around it. The divine power that Senior is talking about, is it those 16 small balls of light?" Yes. That flame is the divine fire that you successfully ignited after integrating with the divine fire realm bead. Those 16 light balls are the 16 points of divine strength that you obtained after integrating with the realm bead this time. That vivid flame totem is the spell summoning slot that you obtained this time. After you successfully condense the mandala, fill that spell summoning slot with divine strength, and you'll be able to perform the fire controlling technique. Senior, what's the perfect integration? The so-called perfect integration means that under my serious guidance, you've reached the most perfect state when integrating with the realm bead and have obtained the most things from the realm bead. And Li Yunzhou explained the benefits of the perfect integration to Xiao Pingan. Li Yunzhou still wanted to say something, but was pushed away by a strong body in a split second. Tupolu's face appeared on the monitor. Tupolu asked curiously, "Congratulations, brat. By the way, have you experienced anything special related to fire? For example, have you experienced a fire or a volcanic eruption? Do you have any special enlightenment after seeing these things?" "That's right." Li Yunzhou nodded. Tupolu was very curious as to why Xiao Pingon could perfectly integrate with the divine fire realm bead and wanted to find some clues. Xiao Pingon broke out in a cold sweat. What did Suerin's achievements have to do with this? However, he also knew that Tupolu was just curious, so he just shook his head and said, I don't think so. Alas, then it's all due to luck. Tupolu touched his forehead as he revealed a look of understanding. Luck? Xiao Pingon closed his mouth and didn't say anything. Then, Lao Zhou's face appeared in the equipment department. He smiled at Xiao Pingon and said, Boy, congratulations, you've just successfully integrated with the divine fire realm bead and experienced a perfect Val body. Your physical strength has improved by leaps and bounds. Didn't you feel that the recoil of that pistol was too strong? And that black rattlesnake iron whip? You also felt that it was a bit difficult to wield it. Now, you should be able to fully wield it. Okay, thank you, Uncle Zhou. Ha ha ha, you're welcome. That thing was originally prepared for you after you ignited the divine fire. It's just that I didn't expect you to be so outstanding. Hearing Xiao Pingon call him Uncle Zhou, Lao Zhou was also very happy. Xiao Pingon was much more polite than that bastardly Yin Zhou. At least he knew how to respect the old and cherish the young. Even though he had perfectly integrated with the divine fire realm bead, he didn't act arrogantly. Okay, let's stop talking. Let's talk about it after he comes out. Mo Yinshao's face appeared on the screen again as he said to Xiao Pingon, Go back to your room to take a shower and change your clothes. Then, go to the comprehensive training ground downstairs. If you have any questions, we'll talk about it there. After Mo Yinshao finished his words, the screen turned black and retracted back to the roof. Only then did Xiao Pingon stand up. When he stood up, Xiao Pingon realized that his body seemed to be different. Just now, he was sitting cross-legged, but now he only exerted a little force on his legs, and without moving his hands and waist, he stood up straight. Although this action was simple, it required a very strong control of the muscles in his legs and the coordination of the muscles in his entire body. In the past, he could not do it. While Xiao Pingon was still in shock, he felt that all the bones in his body were a little itchy. He couldn't help but twist his body. As he twisted his body, Xiao Pingon's bones all over his body emitted a series of fine and soft crackling sounds. To Xiao Pingon's ears, the crackling sounds were like a string of firecrackers hanging in his body. After the crackling sound stopped, Xiao Pingon felt that his entire body was light, agile, and full of strength. It was as if he had changed into another body. The condition of his body was too disgusting. He had to take a shower first. Xiao Pingon stood up and directly opened the door of cultivation room 999. He walked out and returned to room 963, which belonged to him. The two rooms weren't too far apart. Half an hour later, Xiao Pingon took a shower in his room and changed his clothes. He went directly to the comprehensive training ground under the building. Good heavens! Dr. Huang, Mo Yanxiao, Tupelu, Chao Xinghua, and Qing, Li Yunzhou, Fang Lingshan, and Lao Zhou were all waiting at the comprehensive training ground. Almost everyone from the Special Operations Division had gathered. Seeing Xiao Pingon arrive, everyone's eyes fell on Xiao Pingon. Chapter 24. Shanghai City's National Committee of Orders Special Operations Division's underground comprehensive training ground was bigger than a football field. There were all kinds of training facilities and equipment in this training ground, as well as a running track. Whether it was cold or hot weapons or summoning spells, there was enough space and space for them to be used for training. A bunch of people's burning gazes fell on Xiao Pingon's face. This lineup was somewhat out of Xiao Pingon's expectations. He had only fused with one divine fire realm bead, but he didn't expect so many people to be waiting for him here. Xiao Pingon touched his face. Is there something on my face? Why is everyone looking at me like this? There isn't anything on your face, but the effects of the perfect fusion do look pretty good. Didn't you notice that your skin has improved? How enviable. And Qing smiled and spoke first. Fang Lingshan heard this and actually nodded. Women's focus was just so different. Actually, Xiao Pingon had noticed it too. When he was bathing just now, he had washed away the gray matter on his skin and found that his skin had improved a little. There was a faint layer of light under his skin, and he looked more handsome than before. Usually, the divine power gained from fusing with the divine fire realm bead is below 16 points. Of course, the effect of divine power in fusion isn't as powerful as a perfect fusion. Mo Yanxiao spoke. Li Yinzhou walked over and patted Xia Pinggan's shoulder casually. He grinned. Kid, not bad. You didn't disappoint me. Did you feel the summoning slot of your fireball spell? Seeing how shameless Li Yinzhou was, acting as if he was teacher Xia Pinggan, the people around them all rolled their eyes. Li Yinzhou, don't you have any shame? You don't even have the ability to perfectly fuse with the divine fire realm bead. What does Xia Pinggan's perfect fusion have to do with you? Tupolu said directly. How does it have nothing to do with me? He's a newbie under my guidance. I'm the one who guided him to become a summoner. His success naturally can't be separated from my guidance. If you don't believe me, you can ask Xia Pinggan. Didn't I teach him a lot these few days? Old two, are you jealous? Li Yinzhou said with conviction. Xia Pinggan smiled. I just became a summoner. There are still many things I don't understand. I was just about to ask Senior for guidance. Li Yinzhou proudly threw a C. Look at Tupolu. After coughing twice, he explained to Xia Pinggan. You said before that you felt that your sea of consciousness could connect to somewhere. That place is the summoning altar condensed by summoners. Since you've ignited the divine fire, the summoning altar will be revealed. However, your summoning altar is still in its embryonic form. Can you see a relief of a human head on the stone wall of the altar? Beside the relief, there's a bright-colored totem relief in the shape of a flame. That totem relief in the shape of a flame is the summoning position. Li Yinzhou explained to Xia Pinggan. What he saw was not a human head sculpture, but a full-body portrait of Swearin. Xia Pinggan muttered in his heart. Of course, he wouldn't say it out loud. Instead, he nodded and said, Indeed, one fireball technique requires 4 points of divine energy. After you've integrated 3 foundation establishment realm pearls and become a summoner, you only need to inject 4 light points from the summoning altar into that summoning position to summon a fireball. Li Yinzhou continued to explain, Don't underestimate this fireball technique. It's one of the trump cards of summoners. It has a wide range of uses and has great lethality. Ordinary invading creatures and demon spirits can be dealt with one fireball technique. As for ordinary people and wild beasts, one fireball technique can turn them into ashes. Seeing that Xia Pinggan was listening attentively, Mo Yanxiao reminded him, Divine energy is the foundation of summoning spells. The divine energy consumed by summoners can't be replenished through cultivation. You can only replenish half of your divine energy on the 15th day of every month. Otherwise, you can take the expensive Xunli Dan to replenish it. You only have 16 points of divine energy now, which is not much. Don't waste it easily. For points of divine energy is not considered little. Every point of divine energy of summoners is very precious. Thank you for your guidance. Let's not talk about those useless things for now. Let's test your physical fitness first. Tupola said. Okay, then let's test my physical fitness first. Xia Pinggan looked at the training ground, eager to give it a try. Everyone was interested in Xia Pinggan's current ability test because it was one of the traditions of the Special Operations Division. When a person integrated with a Realm Pearl, their abilities would increase tremendously. As a colleague, the deeper the understanding of their abilities, the more confident they would be when they work together in the future. That way, they would be able to cooperate better. Let's test your speed on the track for the 100 meters first. Lao Zhou said. Xia Pinggan didn't say anything. He went straight to the testing ground and stretched his limbs at the starting point. Then, he squatted down and got into a running position. Ready, Lao Zhou shouted from the control panel next to him. Xia Pinggan immediately arched his body like a cheetah about to pounce. His eyes were fixed in front of him, ready to go. Lao Zhou pressed a button, and the sound of a gunshot was heard from the loudspeaker in the training ground. The moment the gunshot was heard, Xia Pinggan's entire body pounced forward. While running, Xia Pinggan completely felt that his body was different at this moment. The explosive power of the muscles in his entire body was much stronger, Although he usually didn't run slowly, at this moment, he was even faster and more relaxed. It was as if he wanted to fly. In less than 10 seconds, the image of Xia Pingan crossing the 100 meters finish line was displayed on the huge display screen in the training ground. There was also a time of 9 seconds. The average speed of 34,100 meters was 10,706 meters. Xia Pingan was also shocked by his results. He didn't expect to be so fast. Moreover, Xia Pingan didn't feel tired at all. At the starting point, Mo Yanxiao raised his eyebrows. Not bad. This speed has basically surpassed the Olympic record for the 100 meters. Boss, why are we competing with those ordinary people? Even the top athletes among ordinary people aren't on the same level as us. Shouldn't we surpass them? Besides, the Foundation Establishment Realm Bead can improve our physical fitness the most, Li Yinzhou said proudly. As they were talking, Xia Pingan came back. Next, let's test the time to finish the 10,000 meters run, Mo Yanxiao said to Xia Pingan. Xia Pingan went to the running track next to them and was ready to go. A few seconds later, with a gunshot from the loudspeaker, Xia Pingan suddenly rushed out and ran rapidly on the running track of the training ground. More than 20 minutes later, Xia Pingan crossed the finish line of the 10,000 meters run. Then, on the display screen of the training ground, the time of Xia Pingan's 10,000 meters run was displayed again. It was 23 minutes, 27 seconds, and 36 seconds. This time was more than 2 minutes ahead of the world record of the 10,000 meters run for ordinary people. It was terrifying among ordinary people. Let's take a look at the other tests, Mo Yanxiao said. This time, Xia Pingan came back and was finally panting. Mo Yanxiao let him rest for a while before continuing the test. After a series of tests, Xia Pingan squatted 410 kilograms, bench pressed 130 kilograms, deadlift 315 kilograms, deadlift 75 kilograms, leg sweep 790 kilograms. Compared to before, Xia Pingan's entire physical fitness had a qualitative leap all of a sudden. To be honest, Xia Pingan was shocked by his own physical fitness. He didn't expect that after fusing with a realm bead and gaining 16 points of divine power, he would change so much. After Xia Pingan finished the last test, Mo Yanxiao stood in front of Xia Pingan. I have something to tell you. I didn't expect you to be able to perfectly fuse with the realm bead of divine fire. In the Committee of Order, those who can perfectly fuse with the realm bead of divine fire can apply to fuse with the next realm bead of God the next day. I just sent your information to the provincial department. The provincial department has agreed to let you fuse with the realm bead of God tomorrow. Xia Pingan was slightly surprised. Tomorrow? Didn't I need a year to fuse with the realm bead of divine fire? Didn't I need a year to serve the Committee of Order before I could fuse with the second realm bead? And after the second realm bead, I still need a year to fuse with the third realm bead? According to the regulations of the Committee of Order, after a person fuses with the realm bead of divine fire, he is considered a preparatory summoner and needs another 2 years to become a summoner. However, if that person fuses with the first realm bead perfectly, then according to the regulations of the Committee of Order, that person can fuse with the second realm bead the next day. This is called striking the iron while it's hot. According to the data analysis of the Committee of Order, this success rate is 12% higher than when you fuse with the second realm bead after a year. Boy, this is a good thing. Don't waste time. Tu Palu opened his mouth and patted Xia Pingan's shoulder. I heard that it takes a lot of luck to perfectly fuse with the realm bead of divine fire. Now that you have luck, you'd better fuse with the second realm bead immediately. This way, the success rate will be higher. To become a summoner, sometimes you do need a bit of luck. And Qing nodded at the side. She didn't doubt luck at all. Was it luck? Or was it a summoner's superstition? To others, it might be luck, but to her, it wasn't luck at all. It was just that she knew how to act out the scenarios in the realm bead. Seeing the others nodding in agreement, Xia Pingan also smiled and nodded. Okay, I'll prepare tonight and fuse with the second realm bead tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll protect you. Under my guidance, you might become the person who can fuse with 3 realm beads in the shortest time in the Committee of Order of Xianghe City. Li Yinzhou also joined in. Fong Lingshan glanced at Li Yunzhou coldly and snorted. Since you're so powerful, why don't we leave the guy behind and Mo Ling to you? We can also take a break. Ha ha. How can I take all the credit for myself? Li Yunzhou said shamelessly. P.S. Thank you again for Peach Loves Bubble support. I'm sincerely grateful to all the friends who support Tiger. However, Tiger doesn't want all the friends to fight for the leader. Just enjoy your books. Chapter 25. After dinner, Xiaopinggan once again went to the shooting range alone to practice shooting. A few days ago, when Xiaopinggan was using the Manuel MR98, his wrist and shoulder could clearly feel the powerful recoil of each bullet. After continuously firing more than 10 or 20 rounds, the Manuel MR98 became difficult to control. The kinetic energy of the bullet at the muzzle of an AK-47 was about 2,000 joules. The kinetic energy of the bullet at the muzzle of an ordinary handgun was about 500 joules. However, the kinetic energy of the Manuel MR98, which used 50 Magnum bullets, could reach up to 3,100 joules. One could imagine how powerful the recoil of this handgun was. That night, when Xiaopinggan was testing the Manuel MR98, he suddenly felt that he could easily adapt to the recoil of the gun with one hand. Inside the shooting range, bang, 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 the muzzle of the Manuel MR98 spat out tongues of flame. The cylinder rotated steadily and rhythmically. The silver handgun was firmly held in Xiaopinggan's hand. The head of the human-shaped target 50 meters away was constantly being hit by bullets. Xiaopinggan easily fired 4 rounds of 24 bullets in the blink of an eye. There was no longer any discomfort in his wrist and arm. In Xiaopinggan's hands, the Manuel MR98 began to become more and more handy. The accuracy of his shots suddenly increased to a whole new level, and it began to display its abilities. Lao Zhou nodded as he watched Xiaopinggan shoot from behind Xiaopinggan. After firing the 4th round, Xiaopinggan stopped. He removed the cartridge from the cylinder and put down the gun. Uncle Zhou, I finally know why you chose this handgun for me. Once you get used to using this gun, it's really not bad. It can balance both power and accuracy. It's much better than ordinary handguns. Xiaopinggan was now a bit fond of the Manuel MR98. The revolver had a special feature, which was that it could embody a simple and exquisite mechanical beauty. It had a retro feel, but it was also very reliable and durable. Every time a shot was fired, the cylinder rotated, giving off a different feeling. For people who like machinery, a revolver would be more intimate to use. It's good that you know. I won't be wrong about what kind of weapon is suitable for people. Lao Zhou smiled. He took out a small box and handed it to Xiaopinggan. Kid, this is for you. Xiaopinggan opened the box and found a very ordinary silver ring inside. The ring didn't seem to have anything special about it. He couldn't help but look at Lao Zhou in confusion. Giving me a ring? What does that mean? Kid, what are you thinking? Lao Zhou glared at Xiaopinggan. You just came to the Committee of Order. There are some things that you don't understand. The profession of summoner is very dangerous. A summoner was assassinated before. The assassin only needed to poison the summoner's silver nail to achieve his goal. You have to fuse with the realm beads frequently in the future. You have to fuse with the realm beads in this special training as well. You can't be careless. Don't pierce your finger with silver nails or other things that you're unfamiliar with. As Lao Zhou spoke, he took the ring from the box and gently twisted it half a circle. A small silver needle appeared on the surface of the ring. He twisted it in the opposite direction, and the silver needle retracted, revealing a small black thorn. The silver needles on this ring are not poisonous and can be used to test for poison. You can use it to extract your own blood to fuse with the realm pearl. The black needles contain a super strong anesthetic. As long as you pierce the skin of an elephant a little bit, you can anesthetize it. You can use it 10 times in a row. You can keep this ring. When you run out of anesthetics, come find me. A black needle with a powerful anesthetic. This ring was not bad. It looked a bit like a special agent's equipment. It didn't look eye-catching on the finger. It could knock someone out with a touch. Xiaopinggan took the ring and put it on his left index finger. He found that it was quite suitable. After putting on the ring, he twisted the ring and the silver needle was revealed. "Thank you, Uncle Zhou." Lao Zhou laughed. "You're welcome. I like you. You can definitely become a summoner. Work hard and kill more monsters in the future." "Okay, when I kill a few monsters in the future, I'll get some good stuff to make wine for you, Uncle Zhou." "Okay, I'll remember it." After returning to his room 963 from the training ground, Xiao Pingan looked at the time. It was just past 9 p.m. At this time, Mo Yin Xiao and the others were already preparing to go out to light the lamp. Xia Ning, who was at school, should have just finished his evening self-study. Xiao Pingan looked into the distance and found that Xia Ning had just walked out of the sketching room with two girls and was about to go back to the dormitory. Xiao Pingan took out his phone and called Xia Ning. "Hello, brother." Xia Ning's voice came from the other side of the phone. There was a hint of mischief in his voice. "You haven't called me for a few days. How is it? Have you seen that short-haired beauty? Do you want me to give you some advice?" "Ah, I don't need any advice. I'm not that stupid." Xiao Pingan laughed. Talking to Xia Ning on the phone always made him feel relaxed. "I'm telling you that I've officially joined the National Committee of Order. You can say that I've changed my job. I'll be a government official in the future." "Ah, that's great." Xia Ning cheered. "With the identity of a government official, your income will be stable. It'll be easy to get a bank loan. Plus, with the money we saved before, you can consider buying a house. With a house, it'll be more convenient for you to bring sister-in-law home. Let's talk about this when I come back. I have something to do at work this weekend, so I won't be home. Tomorrow is Friday." Xiao Pingan was going to integrate the second realm pearl of God tomorrow. He didn't know how long it would take, but even if he could integrate the second realm pearl of God, he had to stay here tomorrow night to get used to it. Okay. Brother, you should get familiar with your female colleagues. It's best to cultivate your feelings. If you need me to appear, I'll be there immediately. I promise I won't be a burden to you. I'll definitely play the role of sister-in-law well. Don't worry." Seeing Xia Ning making such a solemn vow over the phone, Xiao Pingan only felt funny. Thinking of Mo Yin Xiao and the others' tasks these days, he couldn't help but remind them Shanghai City is not very peaceful these days. You can stay at school. You don't have to go home on weekends. It's safer at school. Okay, I'll be careful. Brother, you have to be careful too. Sister-in-law hasn't married into the family yet. Remember, the task of carrying on the Xia family's ancestral line still depends on you. Xia Ning's tone became careful. She knew that Xiao Pingan's advice was not groundless. Okay. After hanging up the phone, Xiao Pingan stood at the window of his room. He was still thinking about the shock brought to him by the first realm pearl of divine fire. In the night sky outside the window, he just happened to see 3 helicopters leaving the headquarters building and flying in 3 different directions in Shanghai City. Mo Yin Xiao, Tu Palu, and the others had already gone to keep watch at night to light the lanterns. That night, as expected, the 6 summoners of the Special Operations Department went to light the lanterns again, leaving Xiao Pingan alone at the headquarters. The next day, early in the morning, Mo Yin Xiao, who had just returned to the headquarters, sent a realm pearl of God to Xiao Pingan's room 963. Chapter 26. For a summoner, it wasn't a smart choice to show the process of fusing realm beads in front of others. Room 999 in the building was usually only used when the first divine fire realm bead was fused. It was a good sign. For the subsequent realm beads fused, everyone would fuse in their own rooms alone. This way, the fusion process would not be exposed to the eyes of others. There was a thermal sensor in the training room. If an accident happened during the process, the thermal sensor would sense it and send out an alarm. Apart from this thermal sensor, there were no other detection or monitoring devices in the training room. It was a very private place. The reason why the mandala formed by a summoner is called a secret mandala is that everything in the mandala is the summoner's secret and trump card. The less others know about it, the better. I hope to see you in the canteen at lunch today. This was the only sentence Mo Yin Xiao said to Xiao Pingan when he handed the realm bead of God altar to Xiao Pingan. Xiao Pingan took the box from Mo Yin Xiao's hands and closed the door. He returned to the training room next to his bedroom and closed the door. Only Xia Pingan was left in the room. Suppressing his excitement, Xia Pingan opened the box containing the realm bead of God Altar. A realm bead the same size as the divine fire realm bead lay in the box. Different from the divine fire realm bead, this realm bead had a green glow in the rolling fog. At the same time, the godly text that appeared in the glow was also different from the divine fire realm bead. In Xia Pingan's eyes, the godly text was the same as 3 Xiaozhuan characters. Jisuren's realm bead was the divine fire realm bead, and the Chou clan's realm bead was the realm bead of God Altar. As expected, Xia Pingan's guess was confirmed. He took a deep breath. Although he looked calm, his heart was in turmoil. If the words serene on the divine fire realm bead was a coincidence, then the words Chou clan on the realm bead of God Altar were definitely not a coincidence. The people in this world didn't recognize the godly text. There were no legends about the serene and the Chou clan, nor did they know about the serene and the Chou clan, but he knew. For example, Xia Pingan understood why people failed to fuse with the divine fire realm bead. There were 2 reasons why people failed. One was that they didn't know about the historical mission of the serene. After the tribe's godly fire was extinguished, they risked their lives to find the fire. Legend had it that the people who had their heads blown off while trying to fuse with the divine fire realm bead had most likely died while searching for the fire seed. Smart people would choose to use the method of drilling wood to bring fire to the tribe, which coincided with Swirenchi's historical achievements. However, although there were many people who knew the principle of drilling wood to make fire, there were definitely not many people who could actually use the method of drilling wood to make fire. Perhaps less than 1/10 of the people who could do it. Xia Pingan had seen some idiots who didn't know the trick of drilling wood to make fire. They used an electric drill to drill wood to make fire, but they also failed and couldn't get the fire. In fact, the trick of drilling wood to make fire was to make a tool to speed up the rotation of the wood. The second was to understand that the fire was not made by the 2 pieces of wood, but by the wood chips that came off when the 2 pieces of wood rubbed against each other. People who only knew a little about the theory without practice would also fail when fusing with the divine fire realm bead. If the other realm beads were the same as these 2 realm beads, then wouldn't the world in the realm bead be completely open to him? Based on his knowledge, he would know what to do in the realm bead just by looking at the holy prose on the realm bead. Xia Pingan was excited. As one of the top students in the history department of the Old Summer Palace Vocational and Technical College, if Xia Pingan said that he was second in the world in terms of understanding of Chinese history, would anyone dare to say that they were first? Don't be excited. These are only the 2 realm beads. I don't know what's going on with the other realm beads. Don't be overjoyed. Xia Pingan warned himself in his heart to confirm his conjecture. At the very least, he had to wait until he completely became a summoner before coming into contact with the other realm beads. If the world and the other realm beads were as he guessed, his conjecture would be finally confirmed. Xia Pingan turned the ring on his finger to reveal a silver needle. He then pricked it with his finger and dripped a drop of blood onto the realm bead of the god's altar. After absorbing Xia Pingan's drop of blood, the realm bead of the god's altar started to change. Xia Pingan turned into a green cocoon of light and entered the realm bead's world once again. Xia Pingan opened his eyes and saw that he had appeared in a primitive forest. He was surrounded by large trees with crowns like clouds, and he was holding a sharp wooden spear in his hand, standing in a huge swamp mud pit. This huge muddy swamp was more than 10 mu in size. The muddy swamp was filled with black, bubbling mud up to his chest. 2 other people were standing in the muddy swamp together with Xia Pingan. Their faces were also pale as they were shedding tears and shivering. Beside the muddy swamp, over 10 m away from Xia Pingan, a 2-meter-long saber-toothed tiger was looking at Xia Pingan and the 2 people beside him in the muddy swamp. It was pacing back and forth anxiously as it roared. However, it didn't dare to enter the muddy swamp. If a person was in the muddy swamp, their chest would be exposed. If the saber-toothed tiger wanted to come down, it could only be submerged in the muddy swamp. Not far behind the saber-toothed tiger, there was a person lying on the ground. He was being torn apart and devoured by another saber-toothed tiger. There was blood everywhere. That person's limbs and neck had all been separated from his body. His body was badly mutilated and had become the saber-toothed tiger's food. This huge muddy swamp became everyone's life-saving place. The saber-toothed tiger could only stare at the people in the muddy swamp. It didn't dare to come down and could only bare its fangs and roar. Could it be that he and the other two people encountered a saber-toothed tiger in the forest and jumped into the muddy swamp to save their lives? Looking at the situation in front of him, it should be like this. The person being bitten by the saber-toothed tiger should be the person who didn't jump into the muddy swamp in time. The people of ancient times lived in such a dangerous environment. Anytime they went out to look for food or explore the environment, they could lose their lives. Even if they fell asleep, they could become the food of wild beasts or die from the attacks of various poisonous insects and snakes. This Yuchao clan's opening was too dangerous. Chapter 27. In the beginning, the mud that reached his chest felt fine. However, after a long time, it made it difficult for him to breathe. His legs were almost numb from standing. The saber-toothed tiger on the edge of the quagmire had teeth that were almost 20 centimeters long and extremely sharp. After wandering around the edge of the quagmire for a while, it turned around and started to devour the corpse on the edge of the quagmire together with its partner. About an hour later, when the corpse had been devoured and only a pile of broken bones was left, the two saber-toothed tigers finally drilled into the woods and disappeared. Xiao Pingan, who was trapped in the quagmire, waited for a while. After guessing that the two saber-toothed tigers had almost left, Xiao Pingan said to the other two, "You wait here for a while, I will go and take a look." The other two nodded. Xiao Pingan then slowly waded towards the edge of the quagmire. When he reached the edge of the quagmire, he picked up 2 stones from the ground and threw them into the woods in the distance. After observing for a while and confirming that the saber-toothed tigers were indeed not lying in ambush, Xiao Pingan slowly climbed out of the quagmire. The parts below his neck had been covered with mud from the quagmire. Apart from the mud, there was nothing covering his body, not even his clothes. Thinking of the generations that had lived in the Chou clan, Xiao Pingan could only accept his current appearance for the time being. After igniting the sacred fire, Xiao Pingan understood that his current role should be the Chou clan, or in other words, he had to shoulder the historical mission of the Chou clan. Seeing Xiao Pingan coming out of the quagmire, the other two followed him out of the quagmire. However, after walking out of the quagmire, they squatted down and took some mud from the quagmire and smeared it on their faces, heads, and necks. They smeared the mud all over their bodies except for their eyes, mouths, and nostrils. Xiao Pingan knew why the ancients did this. In the era without clothes, they smeared the mud all over their bodies to release mosquitoes. In the forest, they could also cover their scents and not be easily discovered by wild beasts. Therefore, he smeared the mud all over his body. After coming to the bloody remains and broken bones on the ground, the other two people burst out into tears at once. Ada is dead. The dead man was called Ada. He was their comrade and friend. The ancients of this era did not have a name, only a simple title. Just now, the 3 of them had seen this man become food for the wild beasts. Let's bury him in the ground. Don't let his body be exposed in the forest and become food for the insects again. Xiao Pingan said with a sigh. Xiao Pingan recalled the historical materials and records about the Chou clan in his mind as he worked. The Chou clan was the ancestor of Huaxia culture. They enjoyed an extraordinary status in the history of Huaxia and were one of the important pioneers of Huaxia civilization. The Chou clan's deeds were recorded in ancient books such as historical records, records of the 3 emperors, Zhuangzi, Robber's Feet, Han Fizi, 5 insects, Preaching history, and Taiping imperial records. There were many legends about the Chou clan. In the legends, the Chou clan was the first to invent and advocate burial, to give the dead the last dignity. The other two looked at Xiao Pingan doubtfully because no one had ever done this before. In the past, when the people of the tribe died, they just died. Wherever they died, they were thrown there, just like those dead beasts. Xiao Pingan didn't say much. He used the spear in his hand and his hands to dig at the ground nearby, and began to practice. Although there were still dangers in the forest, and the two saber-toothed tigers might come back, Xiao Pingan still insisted on burying the dismembered dead man. The soil in the forest was soft, so Xiao Pingan quickly dug a small hole. The two people next to him immediately understood Xiao Pingan's intention and started to dig as well. The three of them worked together. It did not take long for them to dig a hole. Then Xiao Pingan began to pick up the remains and bones of the corpse bit by bit and put them into the hole. The two people next to Xiao Pingan also began to collect the bones. After all the skeletons had been collected into the pit, Xiao Pingan buried the pit. After burying their companion, the two people following Xiao Pingan found that they felt much better. Not far away, there was a broken wooden spear on the ground. It was the dead man's weapon. Xiao Pingan took the wooden spear and inserted it into the ground in front of the hole. The other two people, in the bushes nearby, collected some scattered acorns on the ground, as well as the tools and stone pieces that were thrown away before. Xiao Pingan followed the two people back to the cave where the tribe lived. Along the way, the forest was filled with the sounds of insects and birds, as well as the roars of beasts, so they had to be careful. On the way back, Xiao Pingan saw wild yams growing on the side of the road. The leaves were fat, and there were many lush weeds. He stopped and used a stone piece to cut the stems and leaves of the wild yams. Then he used a stone piece to cut some grass stems and leaf from the side and put them together. He made a set of leaves for himself to wear, covering his 3 points. The other two people saw it and felt curious and somewhat envious. Xiao Pingan also taught the other two to make a set of leaves for themselves. After walking in the forest for more than an hour, the three people finally returned to the cave where the tribe lived with the acorns they picked. There were thousands of people living in the cave. There was no fire in the cave, so everyone was naked, drinking the meat and blood. The wild beasts they hunted and the acorns they picked were their food. During the day, everyone went outside the cave to look for food. At night, they returned to the cave and found a place to lie down and sleep. Hearing that Ada was killed by wild beasts, Ada's family members wailed and cried. However, this kind of thing was not unusual for the people in the tribe. Although everyone was careful enough, every once in a while, there would always be people who died in the mouth of wild beasts and became their food. Some people were sad, but more people in the cave, men and women, were attracted by Xiao Pingan's set of leaves. They couldn't help but come over and touch the three people. Xiao Pingan asked people to gather leaves and grass stems, and then taught them how to make the set of leaves. That night, Xiao Pingan ate some acorns and freshly cut elk meat. Then he curled up his body and spent a cold and sleepless night in the cave. The next day, there were more people wearing the set of leaves in the cave. More people felt that it was indeed better to wear the set of leaves, so they began to follow suit. Xiao Pingan called the two little friends from yesterday over and told them, "It's not safe to live in a cave. Poisonous snakes and insects will also kill us. We have to learn from birds and build a nest in a tree. That way, we can avoid those snakes and insects and have a place to sleep peacefully." The two friends both felt that what Xiao Pingan said was reasonable, but they didn't know how to build nests in trees like birds. "I know how to build nests, but I need your help. You just need to listen to me," Xiao Pingan said to them. The two friends nodded. With the help, Xiao Pingan began to find a big tree with luxuriant foliage near the cave and began to build his first wooden nest. The others didn't know what Xiao Pingan was going to do, but the two people who followed Xiao Pingan to pick fruits yesterday were very obedient to Xiao Pingan and became Xiao Pingan's helpers. Xiao Pingan asked them to cut some branches as thick as an arm with stones. Xiao Pingan himself went to find some vines, peeled them, and began to weave simple ropes with them. In this era, there were no nails. Nests built on trees could only be secured with vines and ropes. Seeing that Xiao Pingan was busy, the others in the tribe were very curious, but they didn't know what Xiao Pingan was busy with. Xiaoping's small wooden nest in the middle of the big tree trunk was also taking shape little by little. Xiaopingan used the three forks in the middle of the tree trunk as pillars. He intersected the cut branches and used vines to secure them bit by bit on the tree trunk. Gradually, a small space was formed. The gaps between the tree trunks were filled with hay and then sealed with mud. Then, wild taro leaves and thatch were woven to cover the nest. Inside the nest, some hay and juniper straw were woven to keep the nest warm. After 3 days of hard work, a simple and crude-looking tree nest that wasn't very big and could barely fit 3 people to lie down and sleep was completed. In Xiaoping's eyes, this tree nest was simple and crude, like a child's toy. But in the eyes of those who lived in the cave, this tree nest was no less than a luxurious villa. Once the tree nest was completed, they found that Xiaopingan and the other 2 could lie down and sleep in it. They didn't need to sleep in the cave and could even shelter them from the wind and rain. Everyone in the cave was shocked and came to visit the tree nest one by one. Everyone was very envious. Everyone wanted to have such a comfortable nest and didn't need to sleep in the cave. But no one knew how to build one. Xiaopingan naturally directed everyone and began to teach them how to choose tree trunks, weave vines, cut trees, and use vines to build the nest bit by bit on the tree trunk. They also learned how to use mud and weeds to block the gaps of the nest. Xiaopingan now had the Cho clan. He was teaching the people in the tribe how to build a nest in the tree bit by bit. As the days passed, the entire tribe built more and more nests in the tree. Unknowingly, Xiaopingan became the most prestigious person in the tribe. Everyone listened to him. These days, people in the tribe hunted elk, bison, and other animals. Xiaopingan also taught them how to use stone chips to cut animal skins bit by bit. They scraped off the oil on the animal skins bit by bit. Then, they soaked the animal skins in dirt and stone powder to tan and dry the animal skins. Finally, they cut the animal skins and made them into warm, swaddling clothes for babies in the tribe and warm clothes for adults. An old man died in the tribe. In the past, the dead old man was casually thrown into the forest. Xiaopingan ordered people to dig holes in the ground and find a place to bury the dead. He also organized a funeral ceremony so that the dead wouldn't be casually thrown away and exposed in the wilderness. After gaining prestige and finding that everyone listened to him, Xiaopingan began to organize and train the young people in the tribe to turn the wooden spears in their hands into javelins and throw them out to hunt for food. One person throwing a wooden spear or javelin might not hit the target, but if dozens or hundreds of people worked together and coordinated the work, the hunting efficiency and success rate would be greatly improved. No matter how ferocious the beast was, it could only become food in front of organized and equipped people. The people in Xiaopingan's tribe gradually lived in the tree nests and wore clothes made of animal skins and leaves. The number of prey they hunted also gradually increased. The quality of life of the entire tribe was greatly improved, and they gained a great reputation. 2 months later, several small tribes in the surrounding area began to come over and pledge their allegiance. They began to learn from Xiaopingan how to build tree nests, how to use animal skins to make clothes, and how to use hay to weave blankets. The people in the tribe began to call Xiaopingan the Great Cho clan. Chapter 28. Rest in peace. Tens of thousands of buildings shelter the poor people in the world. Xiaopingan stood on the hillside and looked at the forest not far away from the cave. Tree nests could be seen with the naked eye. He sighed and could not help but recite a poem. Further away, on top of the mountain, there was an extra piece of land for burying the dead of the tribe. For the first time after death, the dead had a grave, a place to return to and a place to rest. The dead didn't have to be like beasts. They finally had a way to leave this world in a dignified manner. As for those who were still alive, they would have something to remember and offer sacrifices to the dead. What was civilization? This was civilization. There were no written words in this era, so there were no tombstones. After Xiaopingan taught the tribesmen to dig a hole and bury the dead, they would place a large stone on the mound to press down the grave to make a tombstone. They would also put spears or wooden sticks in front of the grave. He also told the family members of the deceased that they could put the things that the deceased used to remember the dead on the grave or hang them on the wooden sticks. Some things could even be burned for the deceased. The relatives and family members of the deceased hung up the bone necklaces and other things that the deceased wore when they were alive. Some even hung the clothes and animal skins that Xia Pingan had taught them to make on the wooden sticks in front of the graves as souvenirs. At this moment, Xia Pingan was wearing the best tiger skin of the tribe. He was wearing a necklace made of bones of praise and a feather crown made of golden pheasant's feathers and juniper straw. He was holding a wooden stick that symbolized his status. The tiger skin, bone necklace, feather crown, and wooden stick were gifted to him by the tribesmen. The tiger skin was peeled off by Xia Pingan after he led the warriors of the tribe to hunt down some saber-toothed tigers. Everyone thought that only Xia Pingan was qualified to wear it. The bone necklace was made from the teeth of praise. It symbolized the number of ferocious beasts that one hunted. The more ferocious beasts one hunted, the more bones would be worn on the bone necklace, and the richer and braver one would be. The crest on his head, which was made of the feathers and leaves of the golden pheasant, was made for him by the women of the tribe. These women of the tribe were grateful to Xia Pingan for teaching them many crafts, so that their children could be better taken care of from birth than before, and there were fewer premature deaths. As for the wooden stick in his hand, it was gifted to him by all the elders of the tribe. In the past, when Xia Pingan was studying history, he had some doubts as to why the scepter was a symbol of status and dignity. Only now did he know that the wooden scepter in his hand was used to beat people in this tribe. He could use the wooden staff to whip anyone. If anyone didn't listen to him, he could use the wooden staff to beat them. Moreover, the person who was beaten couldn't resist and could only accept the punishment. The wooden stick in his hand represented the power of punishment in the tribe. This was the origin of the scepter, because he had unusual wisdom, because what he said was correct, because he let the entire tribe live a good life, and because he was not selfish. He taught all the people in the tribe what he knew. Therefore, the tribe gave him the wooden stick to beat people. Whoever disobeyed him, he could beat them with a wooden stick. This was the entire tribe's recognition of his meritorious service and status. Everyone in the tribe agreed. This was the original prototype of a scepter. Some of the strongest youths in the tribe stood behind Xia Pingan with long spears in their hands. They looked at Xia Pingan with admiring eyes. Xia Pingan looked at the wooden nests built on the trees. His mind was filled with thoughts. The Chou clan might not have thought that 10,000 years later, when countless reinforced concrete replaced this forest, when human technology and civilization had developed to a certain extent, many people still couldn't find a nest. A misty fog gradually appeared in the world in front of him. The entire world turned into countless light spots and scattered in the fog. It was lunchtime. The summoners of the Xianghe City Committee of Order appeared in the dining hall of the headquarters on time. These days, the summoners went out every night to light the lanterns and protect the peace of Xianghe City. Each of them consumed a lot of physical strength and energy. The food in the dining hall of the headquarters unknowingly became more sumptuous. The cost of the food in the dining hall was completely disregarded. When lunchtime arrived, the entire dining hall was filled with the aroma of ginseng and red dates stewed with squab, ginseng and wolfberry stewed with turtle. Tupolu was the first to arrive at the dining hall, followed by Li Yunzhou, Chao Xinghua, and Qing, Feng Lingshan, and Mo Yanxiao. The six of them unknowingly sat across a long table. They each took their lunch and chatted as they ate. Although everyone was chatting, almost everyone's eyes were silently fixed on the entrance of the dining hall. They were faintly anticipating something. "Boss, will that kid be okay?" Li Yunzhou asked as he chewed on the delicious squab. "Do you know how to speak? No one will think you're mute if you don't speak." Feng Lingshan glared at Li Yunzhou. "I'm just concerned about my colleague." Seeing Tupolu's bell-like eyes staring at him, Li Yunzhou rubbed his nose, shrunk his neck, and smiled embarrassedly. "I checked when I came down just now. The temperature sensor in room 963 is normal. A few hours have passed. Xia Pingan should be fine." Mo Yinxiao said calmly. More than 80% of the failures in fusing the realm bead of God happen within the first 2 hours. Xia Ping'an has been fusing with it for more than 4 hours now. The probability of success is very high. Perhaps he'll come down soon. I wonder what he'll gain from fusing with the realm bead of God this time. This realm bead of God is a very crucial realm bead. And Qing added, "Ha ha ha, you can ask him when he comes down." Li Yinzhou hurriedly continued in Qing's words. And Qing smiled faintly. She didn't say anything and just shook her head. For a summoner, it wasn't a good thing for others to know too much about the details of his fusion with the realm bead. The mandala formed by a summoner was called the secret mandala because the less outsiders knew about it, the better it was for them, unless it was a mission that required them to disclose some abilities. Everyone knew about Xia Ping'an's perfect fusion with the realm bead of divine fire for the first time. His reputation had even spread to the province. This might have helped Xia Ping'an gain some fame. However, now that Xia Ping'an had fused with the second realm bead of God, it was inconvenient for others to know about it. Among the 3 realm beads that formed a summoner's secret mandala, the second realm bead of God was very, very crucial. This realm bead laid a solid foundation for a summoner's secret mandala and had a far-reaching influence. Many powerful summoners started with the realm bead of God before they officially formed their secret mandala. This immediately widened the gap between them and ordinary summoners. After successfully fusing with the realm bead of God, ordinary summoners would gain 10 to 12 points of divine power. After successfully fusing with the realm bead of God and forming their secret mandala, they would gain a summoning slot called green protection from the realm bead of God. Most summoners were like this. However, the reason why the Pearl of God altar was so important was because it had so many possibilities and changes. 10 to 12 points of divine power and a green protection spell slot wasn't all that the Pearl of God altar had to offer. Some outstanding summoners could obtain more than 16 points of divine power after fusing with the realm bead of the God altar. Other than the summoning slot of the green protection spell, they could also obtain a summoning slot of the leather armor buff spell. Green protection allowed a summoner to summon a protective barrier in the wilderness. The barrier could protect the summoner from the attacks and damage of all poisonous insects and beasts in the wilderness. It was very useful. It could be said that a summoner with green protection could completely treat the wilderness as their home. On the other hand, leather armor buff allowed a summoner to buff any clothes or armor with a spell. The effect of this spell was that the summoner's ordinary clothes and armor would have an additional layer of leather armor on top of them. After Mo Yinxiao successfully fused with the realm bead of God, he gained a summoning slot called Leather Armor Buff, which made him stronger than many ordinary people. Apart from the summoning slot of Leather Armor Enhancement, a very small number of summoners who successfully fused with the realm bead of God could even obtain a summoning slot of a more powerful and useful item called Soul Pacification Banner. Among summoners, item summoning slots were very difficult to obtain. However, summoners who had the item summoning slot of the Soul Pacifying Banner could summon the Soul Pacifying Banner and use it to pacify the dead. Requiem Banner could prevent the bodies of the dead from being damaged by Corpse Explosion Spell, Corpse Refining Spell, Corpse Sacrifice Spell, Zombie Transformation Spell, and Zombie Virus. Even if the bodies were exposed in the wilderness, they would not be attacked by wild animals or insects. They would also not rot until they were buried in the ground. After many years, the bodies would be treated like mummies. They would only become dry corpses and would not be infected by insects. Summoners who had the Requiem Banner could also control corpses and drive them back to their hometowns to be buried. In all kinds of movies and TV series, summoners who had the Requiem Banner were the ones who appeared the most on screen. A summoner who had the summoning slot called Requiem Banner, even if he or she didn't fuse with many realm beads, had a very low level, and had just become a summoner, his or her status was extraordinary among summoners. He or she would be respected by everyone. No matter where he or she went, he or she could do whatever he or she wanted. Since ancient times, In the armies of various countries, summoners who possessed this soul-pacifying banner were the most loved and respected by the soldiers. The soldiers' love and respect for summoners who possessed this soul-pacifying banner far exceeded the respect they had for summoners who possessed powerful summoning spells. Even in the modern era, in the armies of the various large countries, summoners who possessed the summoning slot of the soul-pacifying banner were the standard of the large country's army. Usually, they would also serve as priests and priests in the army, ensuring the morale of the army. Chapter 29. In the Great Yin Republic, as long as a division was mobilized, there would be at least one summoner who could use the soul-pacifying banner. As long as such a summoner was mobilized with the army, all the soldiers in the army would know that as long as this summoner was alive, they could go home. Even if they died in battle, their corpses would not be desecrated, and they would not be reduced to wandering ghosts. This was a military tradition that had been passed down for many years. It was the same in every country, and in society, in the upper class, or in those rich and powerful families, once someone passed away in the family, a summoner who could use the soul-pacifying banner would be invited to the family to pray for the deceased. This way, the deceased corpses would be better preserved after burial, and they would receive the best treatment and would not be defiled by others. The summoning slot of the soul-pacifying banner could only be obtained when fusing with the realm pearl of God altar. If this opportunity was missed, there would be no other realm pearl that could give summoners the summoning slot of the soul-pacifying banner. Among the summoners in the entire Xiang'an City Committee of Order, there was no summoner who could use the soul-pacifying banner. I think that kid is quite pleasing to the eye. That kid might bring us a surprise this time. If he can use the soul-pacifying banner after fusing with the realm pearl of God altar, then our Xiang'an City Committee of Order will have a summoner who can use the soul-pacifying banner in the future. A lot of things will be convenient. At least, we won't have to rely on the provincial department for support when we encounter any problems. Tupolu said with a hint of longing as he stroked his chin. Mo Yinshao nodded in agreement. A summoner who could use the soul-pacifying banner was very useful. Without such a summoner, the Xiang'an City Committee of Order was always inconvenient. They always felt that something was missing. Do you guys think that he can fuse perfectly again this time? Chao Xinghua, who had been drinking his soup in silence, suddenly asked. Ha ha ha, how is that possible? Li Yunzhou laughed heartily. I'm not jealous. It's just that there are fewer people who can fuse perfectly with the Realm Pearl of God altar than with the Divine Fire Realm Pearl. Many summoners who can use this soul-pacifying banner can't fuse perfectly with it. If he can fuse perfectly with it this time, in addition to having 3 more summoning slots, he will also gain 24 points of divine power. This is more divine power and summoning slots than some newbies who have just become summoners. A genius who can fuse perfectly with the Realm Pearl of Foundation twice in a row. Izhou Province has not seen such a genius. If he can fuse perfectly with it this time, I will lick his shoes and call him master in the future. We heard what you said. I hope you won't go back on your word when the time comes. Fang Lingshan coldly glanced at Li Yunzhou. Unknowingly, just like the last time, Xia Pinggan's body went through another baptism. After the baptism, his consciousness came to the mysterious area in his sea of consciousness. Sure enough, there were new changes in that mysterious area. The divine fire burned even more vigorously. The light from the divine fire dispelled a large area of darkness. The space illuminated by the divine fire was many times larger than before. Around the divine fire, there were more things that weren't there before. The golden light representing divine power had increased to 40 points. Xia Pinggan hadn't touched the 16 points of divine power he had gained after igniting the divine fire. This time, he had gained 24 points of divine power. Moreover, the divine fire was no longer burning in the cave. Instead, it was burning in a huge wooden house. The jade wall behind the divine fire was still there. However, there was now a relief sculpture of a member of the Cho clan. On the sculpture, there was a member of the Cho clan standing on a hillside and looking into the distance. There was a member of the Cho clan wearing bright-colored tiger skin clothes that flashed with a mysterious luster. He also held a wooden staff in his hand. Behind the member of the Cho clan, there was a green tree nest made of countless leaves, branches, and grass. In the relief sculpture, there were a few new graves on the hillside in the distance. Beside the new graves, there was a banner made of red, white, yellow, and black colors. There were some mysterious patterns of the sun, moon, and stars on the banner. Although it was a relief sculpture on the wall, the banner in the relief sculpture was fluttering as if it was alive. Because of his previous experience, Xiao Pingon wasn't surprised when he saw this. He used his soul-pacifying banner to touch the objects in the new relief sculpture. He discovered that the Cho clan's tiger skin clothes, the green halo behind them, and the four-color banner fluttering in the distance were all empty and could be filled with divine power. From the results this time, it seemed that every time he successfully fused with a realm pearl, the secret mandala would undergo new changes. This time, he had successfully gained control of 3 summoning slots. Xiao Pingon was a little excited. That fluttering banner should be the famous soul-pacifying banner among summoners and ordinary people. Even if Xiao Pingon wasn't a summoner, the name of the soul-pacifying banner was like thunder to his ears. He just didn't expect that this soul-pacifying banner could be obtained by completing the historical mission of the Cho clan in this realm pearl. The Cho clan was indeed the first ancestor Huaxia. They allowed the living to have a place to stay and the dead to rest in peace. Too awesome. When his excitement gradually calmed down, Xiao Pingon's soul pacified from the secret mandala in his soul-pacifying sea and opened his eyes. Some of the impurities in his body had been expelled by the divine power infusion, but there was still a layer of sticky, gray matter on his skin. Xiao Pingon stood up and felt as if his body was floating. It seemed that his physical fitness had improved again this time. Looking at the time in the room, it was lunchtime. He didn't know if it was because of the divine power infusion, but his stomach started growling and he felt especially hungry. Xiao Pingon left the cultivation room and took a quick shower. Then, he went downstairs to the dining room, feeling refreshed. Just as he arrived at the entrance of a dining room, he heard Li Yunzhou say, "If he can fuse perfectly again this time, I'll lick the soles of his shoes and call him master in the future. We heard what you said. I hope you don't go back on your word when the time comes." This was the voice of the ice beauty, Fong Lingshan. Xiao Pingon lowered his head to look at the shoes on his feet, contemplating whether he should step on some dog poop. In the end, Xiao Pingon smiled and calmly walked to the dining room to greet everyone. "Ah, everyone's here." Everyone turned their heads. When they saw Xiao Pingon appear, their eyes lit up. Mo Yanxiao was the first to stand up. He asked directly, "Did you succeed?" Xiao Pingon nodded. "Man, I succeeded. I feel that my altar has changed again. There's something new. All right, Director Mo, I seem to have mastered the Requiem banner. I'll report it to the Committee of Order now." "What?" Everyone who was still eating stopped. Just a moment ago, everyone was still discussing whether or not Xiao Pingon could possibly control the soul-pacifying banner. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, Xiao Pingon came to report. As for the matter of reporting, Xiao Pingon had already thought it through when he came down. The soul-pacifying banner skill was too useful. It was impossible for him to hide it. Who knew when he would need to use it? Rather than hiding it now and only letting everyone know when he used it in the future, he might as well let everyone know right now. As a newcomer to Xianghe City's Committee of Order, it was necessary to show his worth at the right time and build a good relationship with his colleagues. "Are you sure it's the Requiem banner?" Mo Yanxiao's expression turned serious. "It should be. I feel that there's an extra banner in my altar. The banner looks similar to the ones in movies and dramas. It can be filled with God power. I feel like I can summon it. Then it can't be wrong." Mo Yanxiao nodded. He looked at Xiao Pingon with something else in his eyes. He already knew that Xiao Pingon wasn't ordinary, but he didn't expect Xiao Pingon to be so awesome. The first time he fused with the Divine Fire Realm bead, the second time he fused with the Divine Altar Realm bead, he could master the Requiem banner. "How many God power points did you get this time?" Fong Lingshan suddenly asked. Upon hearing Fong Lingshan's question, Li Yunzhou's expression immediately tensed up. He even glanced at Xia Pinggan's shoes and swallowed a mouthful of saliva, afraid of hearing the answer that he was afraid of. I seem to have gotten more god power points than last time. Xia Pinggan glanced at Li Yunzhou's slightly pale face. He paused and changed the subject. It should be 18 god power points, phew. Li Yunzhou let out a long sigh as he relaxed. A smile appeared on his face as he said, "Like I said, how could a perfect fusion be so easy? It's already good enough that Xia Pinggan can complete a perfect fusion under my guidance, isn't it?" "You're right, senior." Xia Pinggan smiled. After successfully fusing with the realm bead of the god altar, rest for 3 days. That's the best time to fuse with the last realm bead of the god altar. You'll get used to it for the next few days. After 3 days, prepare to fuse with the third realm bead of the god altar. After fusing with the third realm bead of the god altar, your summoner's secret mandala will be fully formed. You'll officially enter the ranks of summoners and be able to cast spells. At that time, you'll be considered a real member of the Special Operations Division. Mo Yanxiao said to Xia Pinggan. I remember that all the preparatory summoners who were able to perfectly fuse with the realm bead of the divine fire and master the Requiem banner all succeeded in fusing with the third realm bead of the god altar. And Qing blinked her bright eyes and looked at Xia Pinggan. Looks like our Special Operations Division will soon have another summoner. After hearing in Qing's words, the others looked at Xia Pinggan with interest. Xia Pinggan was now only 1 step away from becoming a summoner. Based on Xia Pinggan's previous 2 performances, this last step was already set in stone. Chapter 30. 2 days later, in Mo Yanxiao's office. The Committee of Order's quantum encrypted video conference system had been turned on. A man in his 30s with a head full of silver-white hair and an unusually handsome face appeared on the video conference system in front of Mo Yanxiao. Mo Yanxiao frowned as he listened to the man's introduction of the situation. The situation in the province in Xinchuan City is like this. The sacrifices of the devil I have begun to appear in a dense manner. This is not a good sign. 2 hours ago, in a rented house in Xinchuan City, we found the second devil eye in Xinchuan City. The victims were a family of 6 in the rented house. They had been killed for more than 24 hours. Before they died, they were hit with a perception-sharpening spell. Based on the analysis of the various situations at the scene, the devils I found in Xinchuan City and the devils I found in Xianghe City a few days ago should be the work of the same devils I remember. The current situation is grim. The devil's eye is going to make a big move in Great Yin. Xinchuan City was the provincial capital of Yi Province. It was more than 300 kilometers away from Xianghe City. It was the economic and cultural center of Yi Province. Its population was larger than Xianghe City's, and its economy was more developed than Xianghe City's. Naturally, the provincial headquarters of Yi Province's National Committee of Order was also built in Xianghe City. You mean that the member of the Demon Eyes has already left Xianghe City and went to Xinchuan to commit crimes? And this time, it's a collective operation of the Devil Eye? Mo Yanxiao frowned. That's not what I mean. It's the conclusion of the headquarters analysis. That's troublesome. Based on the information and intelligence from the headquarters, the Devil Eye members have begun to be active in Great Yin in the past 2 weeks. Apart from Yi Province, there have also been a large number of sacrificial ceremonies for the Devil Eye in other provinces and cities. The number of victims in the past 2 weeks has reached hundreds. Therefore, the situation in the future is not optimistic. The risk and number of spatial invasions are increasing. Xianghe City might suffer another spatial invasion on a larger scale. Yes, Demon Eyes is going to make a big move. The province and headquarters have already killed some of the exposed members of Demon Eyes, but Demon Eyes' actions have not stopped. There are constantly lurking members of Demon Eyes being activated and starting to take action. There might be more than one member of Demon Eyes lurking in Xianghe City. You have to be prepared. Yes, Xianghe City hasn't been peaceful in the past few days. We've found abnormal divine power fluctuations when we lit up the lamps these past few nights, but after we rushed to the scene, we didn't find anything. They're testing us. The number of missing persons reported to the police station in Shanghai City in the past week has suddenly increased, and the data is somewhat abnormal. We're already investigating, but we can't determine if it's done by the members of the Demon Eyes or if members of other organizations have infiltrated. In the eyes of ordinary people, Shanghai City was peaceful. However, to these people who were at the center of the pressure, the abnormal situation in Shanghai City had never stopped. These abnormal situations were not reported by the media, and ordinary people did not know about it. Shanghai City was a big city with a population of over 1 million and a large number of tourists. If 1 or 2 people were missing in the city every day, almost no one would notice the abnormality. In addition to the Demon Eyes, other organizations and lone wolves who have smelled the scent may have also arrived in Shanghai City. They can sense the recent abnormalities of the Demon Eyes, and they may even know about the recent sacrifice of the Demon Eyes, so they're also ready to make a move. I know. It's fine if those organizations only want to kill the spatial invaders and fish for the Rel Pearl. If they find a target that threatens the order of Shanghai City, we won't be lenient. Mo Yinshao's voice suddenly turned cold and murderous. By the way, I heard that you have a newcomer who has perfectly fused with the Divine Fire Rel Pearl. I think his name is Xia Pengon, and he's a newcomer you discovered? The white-haired man suddenly changed the topic. Yes, he completed the fusion of the Realm Pearl of the Divine Altar yesterday morning and mastered the Soul Pacifying Banner. I've already reported it to the province. He's fused with 2 Realm Pearls and mastered the Soul Pacifying Banner. Not bad. The cold and handsome white-haired man raised his eyebrows and smiled. I have a job that needs such a person. Let him come to the province for a mission. There are so many people in the province. Can't you find a suitable person? Mo Yinshao said vigilantly. You're not thinking of poaching my man, are you? He's the only one who has mastered the Soul Pacifying Banner here. I don't agree with him being transferred to the province. The white-haired man pursed his lips. Am I that kind of person? You are. Mo Yinshao nodded affirmatively. The white-haired man was speechless for a few seconds. In the end, he had no choice but to say, there's a scumbag who just used a legal move to enter Xinchuan from Europe with a visa. That scumbag has some background in Europe. The domestic police don't have anything on him yet. It's not convenient for the people in the province to take action directly. That scumbag has been in Xinchuan's death arena for the past few days. I don't want him to leave Xinchuan alive, but I also don't want to cause trouble for the higher-ups, so this matter has to be done beautifully. It's just a scumbag. Isn't it easy for you to find a few combat experts? It's easy, but if I find a combat expert who can kill that scumbag won't enter the arena. He's very careful. So this time, it's best to have a newcomer who hasn't been exposed to take action and finish off that scumbag cleanly in the death arena. Mo Yinshao shook his head. Xia Pingon is about to fuse with his 3rd godly realm pearl. If he enters the death arena now, no one can guarantee that he'll leave alive. It's not worth it for him to take such a risk for a scumbag like that. It's too risky. Hee. If a potential summoner who has fused with 2 realm pearls is still afraid of the death arena, then he's just a piece of trash. He'll have to see blood sooner or later anyway. Why don't we see that scumbag's blood as a warm-up before joining the Committee of Order? That scumbag will stay in Xinchuan for 2 days. If we can't find a suitable person to take action in these 2 days, that scumbag might have to leave. Who knows how many little girls he'll harm in the future? Little girls? Mo Yinshao narrowed his eyes. The white-haired man smiled. He knew that he had convinced Mo Yinshao. That's why we call the guy a scumbag. That scumbag has legal status in many countries in Africa and Asia. He's committed many crimes, and he has a bunch of lawyers and lackeys around him. He even bribed many local officials and politicians. That's why he's been fine all this time. However, he shouldn't have come to Great Yin. If he leaves Great Yin alive, our Committee of Order will lose face. In the future, scumbags like him will come to Great Yin one after another. Think about the consequences if any of them harbor any evil thoughts. We can't keep an eye on every little girl, right? So, it's best to kill one as an example to the others. Is this what the old man wants? Hee. If the old man didn't acquiesce, I wouldn't have dared to act recklessly under his watch. For some reason, at this moment, Mo Yinxiao thought about the immovable Ming of Silla tattoo he saw on Xia Pingan's back at Thousand Dragon Temple. He also thought about the people involved in the 819 case who died due to various accidents. Xia Pingan had never displayed his fighting skills before. However, Mo Yinxiao instinctively felt that Xia Pingan was not weak. Oh right, there was also the Black Cobra Steel Whip that Lao Zhou gave to Xia Pingan. The Black Cobra Steel Whip was very special. Lao Zhou had kept it for many years. Previously, someone wanted it, but Lao Zhou never took it out. He only said that he wanted to save it for the most suitable person. Mo Yinxiao fell silent for a few seconds before he nodded. All right, I agree. When do we move? Send him to the provincial headquarters before 1 p.m. tomorrow. He'll only be in charge of the arena. I'll arrange the rest. He needs to integrate with the God Realm Pearl tomorrow. Mo Yinxiao emphasized. After dealing with that scumbag, he'll be here. I'll watch him integrate. You can rest assured now. I'll go through the procedures and apply for a God Realm Pearl from the provincial headquarters. All right. After ending the video call, Mo Yinxiao sat on his chair and pondered for a moment. Then, he took out a remote control and pressed it twice. Soon, the situation in the comprehensive training ground was displayed on a screen in Mo Yinxiao's office. Xia Pingan's figure was dashing through the 400-meter military obstacle zone in the comprehensive training field. His speed was very fast. On the display screen, Xia Pingan was like a cheetah, running, jumping, climbing, supporting, balancing, drilling, and climbing through obstacles one after another. 2 days ago, Xia Pingan's results for the second physical fitness test had been released. 100m run, 8. 46 seconds, 10.000 m run, 21 minutes, 38. 56 seconds, 510 kg squat, 175 kilograms bench press, 385 kilograms deadlift, 92 kilograms deadlift, 950 kilograms leg sweep. Compared to the results of the first test, Xia Pingan's physical fitness had reached a new level after integrating with the second Rel Pearl. With these results, not to mention ordinary people, even the top professional athletes among ordinary people were widening the gap. The extraordinary power of a summoner was gradually revealed. Because of this physical fitness, Xia Pingan could walk in the military obstacle zone as if it were flat ground. The 400-meter military obstacle course in the comprehensive training field was much more abnormal than the normal 400-meter military obstacle course. An ordinary 400-meter military obstacle course only consisted of 8 groups of obstacles, such as straddling piles, trenches, low walls, high board diving platforms, scaling ladders, single-plank bridges, high walls, and low pile nets. In addition to these traditional obstacles, the 400-meter military obstacle course in the comprehensive training field also included climbing ropes, climbing poles, rock climbing, swimming, and rolling logs. All of these obstacles were much more difficult than the ordinary military obstacle zone, and many of them were interfered with by high-pressure water cannons. Take the simplest straddle pile as an example. In the common military obstacle course, the height of the straddle pile was no higher than 0.5 m, and the diameter of the straddle pile was about 0.3 m. However, in the comprehensive training field below, the height of the straddle pile was 4 m, and the diameter of the straddle pile was 0.15 m. The straddle pile became a real plum blossom pile with high-pressure water cannons on the side. Passing a single stride was like stepping on the bottom of a beer bottle from the height of a one-story building while dodging the rocks thrown by others. The physical fitness requirements could be said to be abnormal. In the past 2 days, except for shooting practice, Xia Pingan spent most of his time training in the obstacle zone in the comprehensive training ground. Xia Pingan was very hardworking, but in Mo Yinxiao's eyes, he always felt that Xia Pingan had an indescribable feeling. Except for shooting, Xia Pingan trained hard in these obstacles as if he was running for his life so that he could run faster. As for the Black Cobra Steel Whip that Lao Zhou gave to Xia Pingan, Mo Yinxiao had never seen Xia Pingan train it. After Xiao Pingan finished running 2 laps, Mo Yinxiao directly sent a message to Xiao Pingan, asking him to come to his office. 10 minutes later, Xiao Pingan appeared in Mo Yinxiao's office, fully dressed. "Director, you were looking for me?" As soon as Xiao Pingan entered the office, Mo Yinxiao said straightforwardly, "I have a special task for you." Chapter 31. The Falcon helicopter's engine was still roaring, and the rotors hadn't completely stopped. The wind howled on the ground as Xiao Pingan carried his bag and got off the helicopter. He bent down and walked quickly toward the tarmac. In Xiao Pingan's satchel, there was only his black Cobra steel whip and a change of clothes. Outside the tarmac, a silver-haired man in a black trench coat with both hands in his pockets was waiting for Xiao Pingan. Even though Mo Yinxiao also liked to wear black trench coats, the silver-haired man in the black trench coat gave off a cooler vibe. The contrast between black and white was even more intense. In the strong wind caused by the helicopter's rotors, the man's silver hair fluttered. He had an indescribable aura, like a devil or an angel that descended to the human world. The man was handsome, his gaze was cold, and he was very young. He didn't seem much older than Xiao Pingan, but at the same time, his aura was very strong. Xiao Pingan walked over. The helicopter behind him took off again and returned to the Shanghai City National Committee of Orders base. "You're Xiao Pingan?" The silver-haired man asked directly. "Yes." Seeing that the man had both hands in his pockets and had no intention of shaking his hand, Xiao Pingan didn't bother with formalities. "I don't want to waste time, so let's be straightforward. My name is Yin Duo, and Mo Yinxiao should have already told you about this mission, right?" "Director, Mo only said that this is a special mission and told me to bring the steel whip and listen to your arrangements. He didn't say anything else. My time is precious, and I don't want to waste it. So let's start today's mission." Seeing that Xiao Pingan was so straightforward, the man's eyes flashed and a cold and arrogant smile floated on the corner of his mouth. Yin Duo looked at the time on his watch. "Very good. I like straightforward people. Come with me now. The mission starts now. When we reach the destination, I will tell you what the mission is." Xiao Pingan nodded and followed the man into the distance. The headquarters of the National Committee of Order in Izhou Province was bigger than the one in Shanghai City. It was also a black cube building, but the scale of this building was much larger. Moreover, the military base behind the building had a whole rapid response division station here. In the military base, the rumbling of war vehicles could be heard. From time to time, helicopters, drones, and fighter jets would whiz past. It was very busy. There was a military airport in the base. Yin Duo did not take Xiao Pingan to the headquarters. Instead, he went to the parking lot, got into a black Audi Q7, and drove out of the headquarters. Xiao Pingan had brought Xianing to Xinchuan City before. As the provincial capital, Xinchuan was more prosperous. Xiao Pingan didn't know where Yin Duo was taking him. He just waited quietly in the car. The black Audi Q7 drove into the downtown area of Xinchuan City. Ling Nuo shuttled through the streets, full of cars and buildings. Half an hour later, the black Audi Q7 drove into the underground parking lot of an old building and stopped in a secluded corner on the second floor of the building. Yin Duo turned off the engine and opened the armrest box next to him. He took out something from the armrest box and threw it to Xiao Pingan. "Put this on first." Xiao Pingan picked up the thing and looked at it. What Yin Duo threw to him was a blood-red balaclava. The top of the balaclava was pointed. The balaclava had 2 holes where the eyes could be seen. This balaclava was clearly something that ancient European executioners and executioners would wear. Xiao Pingan did not say anything. He just frowned. "What are you doing?" Yin Duo looked at his watch again. "You have 2 minutes to prepare. 2 minutes later, bring your steel whip. I will take you to an underground fighting arena here and arrange a life and death fight for you with weapons. Your opponent is a scumbag, but that scumbag has just returned from abroad. He is a bloodthirsty pedophile and rapist who has committed countless crimes in Asia and Africa. He should have died a long time ago, but he is still alive for various reasons. You're the most suitable person we can find to fight him. So later, you will have two choices. You can either kill him in the fight or be killed by him. If you are afraid, you can leave now and consider the mission a failure. F***CK. Before Xiao Pingan came here, he knew that this mission might be very special, but he did not expect that the special training this time would be so special. It was an extreme mission, a test of life and death, and he had to fight with perverts. Mo Yinxiao really knew how to pick a mission for himself. Is the Committee of Order responsible for dealing with these scumbags? Xiao Pingan asked. This is not dealing with, this is execution. Yin Duo laughed coldly. We don't care what scumbags like him do abroad, but the Fire Country is not a place for scumbags like him. If the customs and police can't deal with him, we will. The Committee of Order has more responsibilities than you think. Xiao Pingan did not say anything. He opened his luggage, took out the steel whip with the black cobra, and put on the blood-red executioner's mask. Yin Duo took out a silver metal mask with strange patterns and put it on his face. Then he got out of the car and led Xiao Pingan to the elevator not far away. When they reached the elevator, Yin Duo looked up and glanced at the monitor at the elevator door. The elevator door opened automatically. The two of them entered the elevator. The elevator automatically went down 2 floors before it stopped. The elevator door opened again. Outside was a red-carpeted walkway. 4 strong men in black suits stood in front of a safety door that led to the fallout shelter with their arms crossed. Everything here gave people the feeling of a hidden and mysterious underground club. A burly man stepped forward and took out a metal scanner. He checked Yin Duo and Xiao Pingan's bodies and confirmed that they didn't have any firearms on them. After confirming that they did not carry any firearms, the man next to him said something into the headset. The safety door opened and the two of them entered. After the two of them entered, the safety door closed again. An old white man with blonde hair and blue eyes in a tuxedo stood behind the door with a smile. He bowed to Yin Duo with a hand on his chest and said in pure Chinese, "Mr. Number 9, welcome. He is the manager of this death arena. You can call him Charlie." Yin Duo introduced the old man to Xiao Pingan. I'm just a pitiful old man who lost his country and hometown," the old man named Charlie said in a low voice. Yin Duo then pointed to Xiao Pingan. "This is the person I brought here today. Xinchuan City's death arena." This was the first time that Xiao Pingan heard of this place. Just from the name, he knew that this place was not legal. It should be an underground organization. But the Committee of Order dealt with illegal organizations. So, Xiao Pingan was not surprised by this place. For a city as big as Xinchuan, it was impossible for it to be clean everywhere. Where there was light, there would be darkness. It was the same for all things. "Are you British?" Xiao Pingan asked. The old man's temperament reminded Xiao Pingan of those old-school British butlers. So Xiao Pingan asked, "Since the fall of the British Isles in the last century, many British people were exiled all over the world. They became people who lost their country and hometown. Well, you're very sharp. My hometown has become a paradise full of nuclear radiation. People like us have become duckweed. We can't go back." Charlie sighed. Then he glanced at the weapon in Xiao Pingan's hand. "You use a steel whip?" "Yes, I use a steel whip." Xiao Pingan nodded. "This steel whip is quite interesting. Very few people use a steel whip to fight. Those gentlemen and ladies will like it." "Well, then I'll leave him to you," Yin Duo said to Charlie. Then he told Xiao Pingan, "You just need to follow him. Charlie will arrange the rest. You only need to go on stage and win. You don't need to worry about anything else." Xiao Pingan nodded. Charlie took Xiao Pingan to the side of the passage, while Yin Duo went to the other side. After walking through a long passage and opening another security door, Xiao Pingan's ears were suddenly filled with deafening cheers and clamors. A hot and dry air rushed to his face. In the hot air, there was the smell of alcohol, high-class perfume, cigars, and a faint smell of blood and sweat. These smells mixed with the noise, stimulating the adrenaline of everyone who entered this place. What appeared in front of Xiao Pingan was a huge, brightly lit underground arena. Old Charlie took Xia Pingon to the backstage of the second floor of the underground arena. From here, one could see the whole underground arena. The underground arena was bigger than a basketball stadium. In the middle of the arena was a huge octagonal fighting cage, covering an area of more than 200 square meters. Around the cage were grandstands, which were densely packed with people. There were both men and women in the grandstands, but regardless of gender, they were all well-dressed. Most of the men were in suits and leather collars, while the women were also in high-end clothes. Some of them were bedecked with jewels. All the spectators wore different silver masks on their faces. No one showed their real faces. There were also booths in the surrounding grandstands. In those booths, there were men hugging hot women, smoking cigars, and cheering them on. On the four sides of the grandstand were 4 huge display screens. The screens were showing the fighting in the cage. At this moment, in the gladiator cage, a man wearing a black leather headgear that covered his face and, judging from his skin color, he should be from Asia. He was fighting barehanded with a burly black man wearing a blue headgear. The black man in the cage was muscular and tall. His punches and kicks were very powerful, but the Asian man was not afraid at all. He used ferocious Muay Thai kicks and punches to fight the black man head-on. Both of them were covered in blood, but they were still fighting. The spectators in the grandstand were cheering and shouting. They were excited by the fighting in the arena. Charlie brought Xia Pingon to a quiet lounge backstage. Rest here and warm up. When this match is over, we'll fight another match. When you hear Whip of Punishment on the stage, take your steel whip and go out. Your opponent is called Bearman Butcher. Other than the steel whip, you also have the right to choose a defensive shield. When you go on stage, you can only wear a pair of pants. You have to let the audience see the muscles on your upper body. You have to let them see that other than the weapon in your hand, you have nothing else hidden on your body. Understand? Charlie instructed Xia Pingon. Xia Pingon nodded. After Charlie left, Xia Pingon waited in the lounge. From this lounge, he could see the situation in the arena. A few minutes later, the Muay Thai man ferociously swept his leg from the side and broke the black man's calf. The moment the black man fell to the ground, the Muay Thai man swiftly and violently sent his knee flying, directly hitting the black man's face. The black man's face was immediately flattened. Blood burst out from his face. His neck was fractured, and his head was tilted to one side. He fell to the ground in the cage, motionless. Even if he was not dead, he was still seriously injured. Only a pool of red blood quickly spread on the ground. The Muay Thai man raised his fists and roared in the octagonal cage. The staff in the arena quickly entered the cage and carried the black man out. I declare that the Tiger of the Jungle from Thailand wins this match. The referee entered the arena with a microphone and raised the Muay Thai man's hand. Cheers and sighs could be heard from the audience at the same time. Some people in the booths were so excited that they opened their champagne, while others threw down their lottery tickets in disappointment. Chapter 32. Xia Pingon was slowly warming up in his room. As he did so, he kept an eye on the situation in the arena and waited for his next match. Activating his remote vision ability, he saw the masked Yin Duo appear in a box on the high platform opposite the arena. He was looking down at the arena from above. Yin Duo threw a glance at his lounge from afar. Several golden-haired, blue-eyed beauties with long legs and slim waists in swimsuits entered the gladiator cage with several plates in their hands. There were shields, sabers, and swords on the plates. At the sight of these plates, the atmosphere in the gladiator arena became clamorous again. A male host in a shiny black evening dress entered the arena and was introducing the next match in a very influential voice. Ladies and gentlemen, the next match is the most wonderful and cruel weapon fight that you've all been waiting for. The first one to enter the arena is Wild Wolf Jack from Europe. The spotlights in the stadium shone on a passage. A white man wearing a wolf mask, holding a shield and a mace walked out of the passage. He raised his hands high, showing off his strong muscles, and at the same time welcomed the cheers in the stadium. Wild Wolf Jack is an intimidating killing machine. His record in the Death Corner arena is 23 matches. 19 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss. His only loss made him lie in bed for half a year. After recovering from his injuries, Wild Wolf Jack became even more like a bloodthirsty wild wolf. In the second match, after recovering from his injuries, Wild Wolf Jack set his record for the fastest kill in history, 15 seconds. Although Wild Wolf Jack has been in the death arena for a long time, we still have to follow the rules of the competition. Before entering the arena, Wild Wolf Jack has to undergo a Realm Pearl fusion test. This test is to ensure that those who enter the arena are not summoners. This is a fair duel between non-summoners. Wild Wolf Jack rushed towards the gladiator cage. Outside the gladiator cage, he bit his finger and dropped 2 drops of blood onto a blue ball with a diameter of over 20 centimeters. After a few seconds, the blue ball started to radiate blue light. After the test of the altar crystal ball, Wild Wolf Jack is still Wild Wolf Jack. He hasn't formed an altar yet. Welcome, Wild Wolf Jack. Wild Wolf Jack roared and entered the gladiator cage, first with his mace and shield in hand. Raising his weapon and shield high, he roared and showed his muscles. He walked back and forth in the gladiator cage like a wild wolf patrolling its territory. The next one to enter the arena is Blood Warrior from Japan. Blood Warrior is a martial arts practitioner who walks on the edge of life and death. His record in the death arena is 11 weapons fights, 11 wins, and he hasn't lost a single match so far. On the other side of the tunnel, a man wearing a white neon Prajna mask and carrying 2 katanas on his back calmly walked out of the tunnel. The man called Blood Warrior's naked upper body was covered with tattoos and various scars. The tattoos and scars gave him a special aura. When he came to the side of the altar crystal ball, the Blood Warrior drew out his dagger and rapidly cut a thin wound on one of his fingers. He then dripped 2 drops of blood onto the altar crystal ball. The altar crystal ball then radiated blue light. Welcome, Blood Warrior. Blood Warrior entered the arena. The host and those beauties who were holding signs walked out of the arena. After the iron gate of the arena was closed, Blood Warrior and Wild Wolf Jack each stood in a corner of the arena and stared at each other with deadly eyes. Wild Wolf Jack even made a throat-cutting gesture towards Blood Warrior. On the electronic screen in the arena, a countdown of 180 seconds started. Ladies and gentlemen, there are only 3 minutes left. Please place your bets as soon as possible. This will be a splendid duel. At this moment, the people on the stands and in the boxes started to place their bets. After the countdown of 180 seconds passed, Wild Wolf Jack and Blood Warrior rushed towards each other in the arena at the same time. The bloody duel began. Jack Wild Wolf looked crude, but the combination of his mace and shield was very methodical. He wasn't reckless. Moreover, the mace in Jack Wild Wolf's hand was very powerful. Every time he attacked, the Blood Warrior had no choice but to dodge or block. Blood Warrior had the advantage of being agile, and the 2 katanas in his hands were strange and fierce. After only a few minutes, the 2 of them started to bleed. This was the danger of a duel between weapons. When 2 weapons collided, no one could escape unscathed at all times. If they were hit or grazed, they would either die or be injured. Blood Warrior's left shoulder and arm were scratched by Wild Wolf Jack's mace, leaving bloody grooves. Wild Wolf Jack was stabbed in the thigh. Because of the injury on his shoulder, Blood Warrior's attacks became somewhat sluggish. Half of his arm was crippled. As for Wild Wolf Jack, he was like a wild wolf that had lost a leg. His movements were also limited, and he was no longer as agile as before. 10 minutes later, the entire arena was covered in blood. Blood Warrior's dagger stabbed into Wild Wolf Jack's lower abdomen. The tip of the dagger came out of Wild Wolf Jack's back. Before Blood Warrior could drag the dagger across, Wild Wolf Jack pounced on him like a hungry wolf. He grabbed the dagger's handle and swung his mace at the same time. He smashed Blood Warrior's thigh with his mace. Blood Warrior's thigh was twisted and badly mangled. Both of them were covered in wounds. They fell in the arena, unable to get up. This kind of duel was just like a duel on the battlefield. It was too tragic. The referee counted for 10 seconds. Neither of them could stand up. Then, the referee announced a draw. Two teams of medics quickly rushed into the arena and carried both of them away for treatment. A few cleaners quickly entered the arena and began to clean up the bloodstains on the ground. In just a few minutes, the arena became clean again and looked brand new. The male host, who was wearing a shiny black evening gown, and a few beauties in swimsuits entered the arena once more. Ladies and gentlemen, the duel just now was too intense. However, the next duel will be even more interesting. You will see a newcomer who has just appeared in the death arena for the first time fight against a bloody butcher. The male host's first few words had already ignited the curiosity of all the spectators in the arena. The first one to enter the arena is the Bearman Butcher. On the other side of the tunnel, a well-built man wearing a black leather helmet and holding a machete and a shield appeared under the spotlight. The man was nearly 2 meters tall. His bare chest was covered in brown hair that was as dense as the wild grass in the forest. He looked like a wild bear. This is the first time the Bearman Butcher has entered the death arena of the Northlight continent. Before this, the Bearman Butcher had fought many times in the death arena of Europe, Asia, and Africa. His record of fighting with weapons in the death arena is 27 matches, 21 wins, 4 draws, and 2 losses. He has a record of 19 kills. Because of his strong physique, he recovered very quickly after 2 injuries. In the death arena, the Bearman Butcher is truly a human tank. During the host's introduction, the Bearman Butcher walked towards the god's altar crystal ball. He used his axe to cut his finger and dripped his blood on the god's altar crystal ball. When the god's altar crystal ball lit up with a blue light, he was the first to enter the arena. The next one to enter the arena is the newcomer of the death arena, Whip of Punishment. This will be his first fight in the death arena. Furthermore, he will be facing the Bearman Butcher the moment he enters the arena. The outcome will be unpredictable. When the spotlights in the arena shone on the exit of the tunnel, Xia Pingan, who was holding a black cobra steel whip and wearing the blood-red headgear of an executioner, silently walked out of the tunnel. Xia Pingan did not carry a shield. Under the white spotlight, Xia Pingan's upper body was completely exposed. His muscles were strong and masculine. The lines of his muscles were not exaggerated. They could only be considered well-proportioned, and there were no scars on his body. The executioner's blood-red hood on Xia Pingan's head was not conspicuous in such a place. In this place that was filled with blood and brute force, scars and muscles were the only passageways. Xia Pingan, who walked out of the tunnel, looked a little delicate in the eyes of others. He was like a lamb that had been dragged out with a red cloth to be slaughtered. On Xia Pingan's back, where no one could see, the incomparably powerful motionless Ming of Scylla tattoo covered Xia Pingan's entire back. Raging flames burned the void, and the azure dragon coiled around the great sword silently. Chapter 33. At the sight of Xia Pingan coming out, the arena was filled with boos at once. The boos represented that most of the people present were not optimistic about Xia Pingan. Xia Pingan just walked towards the gladiator cage in silence. When he came to the altar crystal ball, he pricked his finger with the special sharp tail of the black cobra steel whip and dripped 2 drops of blood onto the altar crystal ball. If Xia Pingan had completely condensed the summoner's secret altar in his body, he would have a connection with the god's altar crystal ball. However, Xia Pingan was still 1 god's realm pearl away from condensing the god's altar crystal ball. Therefore, after Xia Pingan dripped his blood on it, the god's altar crystal ball still emitted a blue light, indicating that Xia Pingan was not a summoner. The Whip of Punishment is about to enter the gladiator cage. A duel between Whip and Saber is about to take place. As we can see, the Whip of Punishment only has a whip in his hand instead of shield. This will put him in a very disadvantageous position in the following fight. Whether he is too confident in his steel whip or arrogant due to his lack of actual combat experience will be revealed in a while. The host's provocative voice reverberated in the arena. Xia Pingan had already walked into the gladiator cage, and the cage behind him was closed. Ladies and gentlemen, there are still 3 minutes left. Please place your bets as soon as possible. This will be a duel full of suspense. The 180-second countdown in the arena began. Brat, this is not a place for a pretty boy like you to walk on the catwalk. I will disassemble your body into parts later. The Bearman Butcher was panting heavily on the opposite side of the gladiator cage as he stared at Xia Pingon with bloody eyes. Xia Pingon didn't look at that scum. He just lowered his head and looked at the black cobra in his hand with a gaze full of emotions. Meanwhile, he gently stroked the diamond-shaped pattern on the steel whip with one hand. The black cobra was very heavy, much heavier than it looked, especially the handle of this black cobra. It was exactly like the open neck of a cobra before it attacked. The segments of metal joints were more than 20 centimeters wide. Then the steel whip narrowed all the way. The metal joints of the steel whip were made of platinum and tungsten steel. Platinum was heavier than gold. Therefore, this seemingly small steel whip could generate the most kinetic energy when it was waved. At the end of the steel whip was a sharp metal cone like the tip of a bullet, just like the tail of a cobra. The metal cone was made of aluminum titanium alloy, which was both light and hard. There was a huge reduction in material density and weight between the aluminum and titanium alloy at the tip of the super heavy whip made of platinum and tungsten steel. In the eyes of ordinary people, it was very difficult to understand the intention of the creator. However, Xia Pingon knew that this black cobra was indeed a weapon. With one look, he knew that this black cobra was a weapon. Only in the eyes of a whip expert would one be able to understand the intricacies of the steel whip. Lao Zhou indeed had a good eye. As the 3-minute countdown in the arena came to an end, the breathing of the brown bear butcher on the other side became heavier and heavier. He stared at Xia Pingon with more and more violent eyes. He was itching for a fight. Beep! The 3-minute countdown in the arena sounded. The brown bear butcher, who was holding a machete and a shield, was like a wild bear. He used the shield to protect his chest and raised the machete. He charged directly at Xia Pingon like a mad bull. Cries of surprise rang out in the arena. Many people even thought that Xia Pingon would be killed by the brown bear butcher in the next second. At this moment, Xia Pingon finally raised his head and looked at the charging brown bear butcher. His eyes were as sharp as swords. As Xia Pingon took a step forward, all the strength in his legs, waist, and back was transferred to his hands, and then from his hands to the steel whip. The black cobra steel whip in Xia Pingon's hands lashed out fiercely. It was like a pouncing cobra, leaving a black shadow in the air. No one could clearly see the trajectory of the steel whip, but in that instant, it was as if a bullet had been shot out of the cage within the entire fighting arena, emitting a loud bang. That loud bang shook everyone's eardrums, causing the loudspeakers in the fighting arena to lose their luster in an instant. The brown bear butcher, who had charged over, was still 5 meters away from Xia Pingon. His head had already exploded. Brain matter and blood splattered all over the cage. His bear-like body rushed forward 2 steps due to inertia and then knelt on the ground in front of Xia Pingon. The machete and shield in his hands fell to the ground. The body, whose head had exploded, knelt quietly for 2 seconds before suddenly falling to the ground. At this moment, the entire fighting arena was completely silent, deathly still. Xia Pingon lowered his head to look at the tail of the black cobra steel whip. There wasn't a single drop of blood on it, and it was as clean as new. That was to be expected. The thing in the brown bear butcher's head hadn't even been able to touch the black cobra's tail before it had exploded. The originally noisy arena was silent for more than 10 seconds. Then, the huge screen in the arena started to play the video of Xia Pingon killing the brown bear butcher with his whip. It had been captured by the high-speed camera above the cage. The high-speed camera above the cage could even capture the trajectories of bullets and artillery shells. Naturally, it could also capture the various scenes of people fighting. On the huge screen, Xia Pingon struck with his whip. The black cobra in his hand drew a continuous S-shaped curve in the air as it approached the brown bear butcher. Due to the speed of the steel whip, the brown bear butcher's movements were too slow. It was as if he had been immobilized. The steel whip's attack trajectory wasn't a straight line, nor was it an ordinary curve. Instead, It was a complex and progressive S-shaped curve. This attack trajectory directly passed through the gap between the brown bear butcher's shield and machete. The tail of the black cobra steel whip was like a bullet. When it approached the brown bear butcher, it suddenly accelerated and shot into the brown bear butcher's eyes. Then, the huge kinetic energy caused the brown bear butcher's head to explode completely. Xiao Pingan used his whip to kill the brown bear butcher in less than half a second. The host's voice rang out excitedly. His voice was about to break. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the whip tip effect. This is the whip tip effect. The high-speed camera in the cage just captured the scene. After some calculations, the speed of the whip of punishment's tip exceeded 2 times the speed of sound. Many people present probably don't know what the whip tip effect is. I'll explain it briefly. When a whip is struck, its total kinetic energy doesn't change. However, as the whip moves, its kinetic energy will be transmitted from the hand to the tip of the whip. As the whip moves from thick to thin, under the condition that the total kinetic energy is constant, the moving mass at the tip of the whip will decrease. This will cause the tip of the whip to move faster and faster. It can even exceed the speed of sound. This is the whip tip effect. Only a true master of the whip can use the whip tip effect in fighting techniques. The whip can become the only cold weapon that can exceed the speed of sound and achieve a one-hit kill. This is the shortest and most exciting match I've ever seen. Following the host's explanation, the entire fighting arena was in an uproar. Xiao Pingan, who was wearing the red headgear of the executioner, had already put away his black cobra and silently walked out of the cage. As far as he was concerned, this mission had already been completed. The spotlight in the arena once again shone on Xiao Pingan. When Xiao Pingan turned to leave the arena, many people noticed the powerful and majestic aura emanating from the motionless Ming of Scylla tattoo on Xiao Pingan's back. At this time, when they looked at Xiao Pingan's red headgear again, everyone's feelings were completely different. It was so clean and efficient that it didn't seem like a fight at all. It was more like an execution. That cage was the guillotine of the brown bear butcher. For those who knew about the brown bear butcher's background and past, at this time, they felt their hearts palpitating and had some vague guesses. Slowly, the uproar and cheers in the arena calmed down. The entire arena became quiet again. Everyone watched as the executioner, with the steel whip, disappeared at the entrance of the tunnel. Chapter 34. Xiao Pingan had just finished dressing in a resting room when Yin Duo arrived. Well done, let's go. Yin Duo gave Xiao Pingan a rare smile. Xiao Pingan followed him out of the resting room. The two of them left the Death Corner arena unimpeded and took the elevator back to the underground parking lot. They only took off the masks on their faces when they got into the car. Yin Duo drove the black Q7 out of the underground parking lot and arrived at the bustling street outside. Only then did he see the light of day again. The street outside was bustling with traffic and pedestrians. The shopping malls and roadside shops were operating as usual. There were old men playing chess next to the flower beds on the street, and children riding bicycles on the sidewalk. Such a scene, compared to the blood and death scene and experienced in the Death Corner arena just now, this strong contrast would make one feel that reality was so absurd. Is this Death Corner arena tacitly approved by the Committee of Order? Xiao Pingan, who was sitting in the car, asked. The order of the underground world is still order. Yin Duo looked at the road and said calmly as he continued to drive, the history of this Death Corner arena is not shorter than the Committee of Order. It operates in many countries around the world. Of course, in Great Yin, the Committee of Order has a cooperative relationship with them. Instead of letting these thrill-seeking rich people in the country fly around the world with a lot of cash, chicks, and all kinds of confidential information every day, why don't we keep them under our nose and let them be used by us? You can't stop those who die here. If you don't let them die here, they will die somewhere else. That was indeed the case. By the way, why did you think of using a whip? Yin Duo took the initiative to ask Xiao Pingan a question. Your whip has the power of a bullet within its attack range. That's rare. A whip is a weapon that can maximize the mechanical characteristics of a weapon. Moreover, I'm afraid of death and don't want people to get close to me. Xiao said. Ha ha ha, you're much more interesting than Mo Yin Xiao. Yin Duo laughed. Let's formally introduce ourselves. I'm Yin Duo, the captain of the provincial Yin Battalion. Yin Battalion? You can think of it as a special mobile squad for summoners in the provincial department. We also belong to the National Committee of Order and have an official status. At the same time, we have relative freedom. As long as we complete the tasks assigned by the provincial department every year, we're relatively free for the rest of the time. I'm the contractor of this squad, and a few brothers work for me. Yin explained. Xiao nodded and formally introduced himself. Xiao, I'm a new recruit from the Special Operations Division of the Shanga Committee of Order. Especially after you become a summoner, you'll have more chances to get realm pearls if you follow me. As long as you join me, I'll apply to increase your basic salary by 2 levels. You could travel around the world every year and live a good life. Before the end of this year, I'll get you another realm pearl. In the future, you'll get at least 2 realm pearls every year. These are my conditions. Think about it carefully. Think about it. Before I came, Director Mo told me not to believe your nonsense if you try to poach him. He'll come after you. Xiao laughed. Yin Duo laughed and changed the topic. You'll know in the future that working for me is much better than working for old Mo. Where are we going now? I'll find a place for you to fuse with the realm pearl of the gods. Yin Duo didn't drive back to the provincial department of the Committee of Order. Instead, he drove to a high-end villa area in the suburbs of Xinchuan City and stopped the car in front of a very modern-looking villa. He used the key to enter the villa, closed the door, and entered the villa's elevator. Arriving at the second floor of the villa, Yin Duo brought Xiao to a cultivation room with a security door. This is a safe house of the Committee of Order in Xinchuan City. You can fuse with it here without worry. Yin Duo took out a box and handed it to Xiao. This is the realm pearl of the gods. The time required to fuse with this realm pearl is the longest. It'll take about 3 days. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Xiao suppressed his excitement and gently opened the wooden box. Inside the wooden box was a colorful realm pearl lying quietly on a piece of cloth. The realm pearl was filled with rolling fog. Within the fog, there were 3 Xiaozhuan heavenly text flashing. Shinnon clan. It was just as he had guessed, the Shinnon clan. The so-called realm pearl of the gods was actually the Shinnon clan. Xiao excitement was indescribable, but he didn't show it. After taking a closer look at the realm pearl, he raised his head and looked at Yin Duo. Is there anything I need to take note of when fusing with this realm pearl? Yes. This realm pearl is the last realm pearl of the Foundation Establishment realm pearl of the summoner. Once you successfully fuse with this realm pearl, the summoner's secret mandala in your sea of consciousness will take shape. You'll truly become an unquestionable summoner. The reason why this realm pearl is called the realm pearl of the gods is because once you successfully fuse with this realm pearl, you might be able to obtain the character summoning slot provided by this realm pearl and summon some special characters. What kind of people can this realm pearl summon? Xiao asked curiously. This realm pearl can summon a wide range of characters, Yin Duo said with a look of reminiscence on his face. Ordinary people can summon a farmer through this realm pearl. This is also the type of person most summoners can summon through this realm pearl. However, some summoners can also summon a craftsman after successfully fusing with this realm pearl. Farmer, craftsman, a farmer who can farm, and a craftsman with skills. Xiao asked in astonishment. That's right. Yin Duo nodded. These 2 professions are non-combat professions. Therefore, not many summoners are willing to summon these 2 professions. After successfully fusing with this realm pearl, you'll understand. The farmer summoned by this realm pearl is no different from an ordinary farmer. He can completely take on the responsibility of farming and raising poultry. Some summoners have their own farms and even summon a farmer to farm. The craftsmen summoned by this realm pearl have different abilities. That's amazing. Is that what you call amazing? Yin Duo smiled faintly. For a summoner, this is the most basic thing. Moreover, what I just mentioned are only the characters that can be summoned by ordinary summoners after successfully fusing with this realm bead. Some summoners can also summon other characters after successfully fusing with this realm bead. Oh, you can also summon other characters. Yin Duo nodded. A very small number of summoners can even summon a pharmacist who can refine elixirs after successfully fusing with this realm pearl. When Xiao Pingon heard this, he was already very excited. This was because the characters and objects that this realm pearl of the gods could summon corresponded to the contributions of the Shinnon clan. In the legend, the Shinnon clan's contributions to the Chinese civilization were mainly reflected in 10 aspects. First, they started to make leaping and plowing for the people. Second, they started to plant grains and feed on the people. Third, they tasted all kinds of herbs and invented medicine. Fourth, they started to promote trading in China. Fifth, they made hemp into cloth to protect the body from a cold. Sixth, they made arcs and arrows to resist invaders. Seventh, they made pottery for the people. Eighth, they were the first to compose music to entertain the people. Ninth, they pioneered to boil salt to strengthen the body. 10th, they founded astronomy and created the first calendar in China. The Shinnon clan was known as the ancestor of agriculture, medicine, commerce, music, and so on. They had made indelible contributions to the Chinese civilization. Among the top 10 contributions of the Shinnon clan, the first 2 contributions of the Shinnon clan corresponded to the summoning of the farmer. The third contribution corresponded to the summoning of the pharmacist. The 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th contributions corresponded to the summoning of the craftsman. This means that after successfully fusing with this realm pearl of the gods, it is possible to summon 3 types of characters. Xiao Pingon asked. Yes, this is the reason why the realm pearl of the gods is called the realm pearl of the gods. However, most people can only summon a farmer or a craftsman after fusing with this realm pearl. Very few people can summon a pharmacist through this realm pearl. Then how much divine power can this realm pearl of the gods increase after fusing with it? Generally, it is 16 to 17 points. The highest can reach more than 26 points. More than 26 points? This realm pearl of the gods has not fused perfectly? Since ancient times, no one has been able to fuse with the realm pearl of the gods perfectly. Yin Duo shook his head with a smile. I hope you perform well today. If you can summon a pharmacist after fusing with the realm pearl of the gods, you will have one more trump card. After passing this test, when you fuse with other realm pearls in the future, there are not many realm pearls that can summon more than 2 types of characters at once. The more successful you are in fusing with this realm pearl of the gods, the more divine power your secret mandala can hold in the future. Isn't divine power obtained through the realm pearl? What does it have to do with the capacity of the secret mandala? The divine power obtained from the realm pearl of the gods is like harvesting crops. You can harvest them once a month. When your secret mandala is formed, you will find that every summoner's secret mandala is equivalent to a storehouse for storing divine power to some extent. Every month, you can convert your unconsumed divine power into spells and characters that you want to summon and store them in the mandala. At critical moments, you can summon them. The larger the storehouse, the stronger your foundation, and the more spells and characters you can store in the mandala. You will be able to use them at critical moments. Do you understand? Xiao Pingon suddenly understood. I understand. So the summoner's secret mandala has such a function? The summoner's secret mandala is a secret and trump card that only you can know. In the future, you don't have to explain the situation of your mandala to anyone. Okay, thank you for your advice. Do you have any other questions? No. Xiao Pingon shook his head. Then you can fuse with the realm pearl of the gods here. There is no monitoring device in this secret room. I will be outside. After you fuse with the realm pearl of the gods, you can open the door and come out. Yin Duo said as he turned around and left the secret room, closing the door behind him. Chapter 35. Xiao Pingan opened his eyes once again and found himself lying in a deep patch of grass. The blue sky above his head was a bit dazzling, and the clouds were so white that they seemed to have been bleached. Beside him, there were half a man tall bristlegrass, and he was holding one in his mouth. Xiao Pingan immediately sat up and looked at himself. He was wearing animal skin, with bone chains on his wrists and neck, and a sharpened stone sickle hanging on his waist. This was a small hillside near the river. Not far away, there was a large tribe and houses, which had been built on the ground with mud, wood, and reed strips. Smoke rose in spirals from the chimneys of the tribe. There was also a muddy pit in the middle of the tribe. Numerous young and strong men were stepping on the mud in the pit, thinning the mud in the pit and mixing it with the dried grass and leaves. Some people went back and forth between the tribe and the lakeside, using bamboo tubes to carry water from the lakeside and pour it into the muddy pit. There were also some people who took out the mud from the mud pit and put on the open space beside them. They used wooden planks to pat the mud into roughly square shapes and let it dry under the sun. There were many dried mud cubes on the ground. Those dried mud cubes were taken to a place not far away and piled up with the mud cubes and reed strips to build simple new houses. Was this the era of Shinon clan? The ancients had improved their house-building skills a lot. Xiao Pingan looked at the large tribe in the distance. Judging from the number of houses, this tribe had a large population, at least tens of thousands of people. The houses of the tribe had been moved from the trees to the ground. Additionally, the main material of the houses had become mud. The grass and stems in the mud acted as steel bars in the concrete. After being dried, the mud bricks would no longer be loose. Some of the people in the tribe were wearing clothes wrapped with animal skin, while others were wearing clothes woven with grass and leaves. Judging from the smoke rising from the chimney, it seemed that the fire seed had been completely popularized and the productivity had been further released. As for those houses built with reed poles and mud bricks, there were big and small ones. Those houses of different sizes also had different things to dry outside. This indicated that there were rich and poor families in a tribe. The division of labor in some primitive societies may have already appeared. For example, some people were better at chopping firewood with stone axes and knives. Some were better at hunting. Some were good at making leather. Some were good at making stone tools. Some were good at picking fruits or weaving clothes. In some open places in the tribe, some wild fruits and many animal skins and bones were being dried under the sun. The breeze from the direction of the tribe carried the smell of those animal skins and bones. The smell of those animal skins and bones being dried under the sun was not pleasant. But in this age, such a smell was the smell of a prosperous and powerful tribe. The men and women were busy with their own work, and a group of children were chasing some elk that had been reared in the tribe. There were no farmlands around the tribe, but there were large areas of grasslands and woodlands by the river and the surrounding slopes and grasslands. There were many plants in those grasslands and woodlands. Compared to the Swearin and Cho clan experiences, the productivity of this tribe had obviously improved a lot, and the population of the tribe had also increased. Looking at the scene in front of him, Xiao Pingan's mind flashed with a passage from Zhuangzi's robber chapter. In the era of Shinnong, the people know his mother, but they don't know his father, coexisting with a deer. Xiao Pingan then took out the stone sickle at his waist and looked at it. This stone sickle was more than 20 centimeters long and had been sharpened to a very sharp point. In this era, to be able to wear a stone sickle at his waist, this stone sickle should be worth a lot. The degree of flashiness was no less than when young people in the future held a mobile phone in their hands. Just when Xiao Pingan was looking into the distance, a young girl with slightly tanned skin wearing a tiger skin skirt had already walked up the hillside aggressively towards Xiao Pingan. Adi, you're hiding here again. That young girl came in front of Xiao Pingan. Before Xiao Pingan could figure out her identity, she had already grabbed Xiao Pingan's ear with one hand on her waist and started to lecture him. I've been looking for you for so long to eat. Elder brother and uncle have already led people to hunt. You're the only one who's been wandering around all day, looking at the grass and fish. You said the day before yesterday that you could eat these weeds. From now on, I'll cut some weeds to feed you. Let's see if you're full or not." The weeds that the young girl was talking about were the green foxtails around Ping, and don't underestimate these green foxtails. These green foxtails were the ancestors of millets. Millets were called chestnuts in ancient times. The earliest chestnuts were selected from these green foxtails and gradually cultivated. Large amounts of chestnut rice were found in the Palagang culture site and the Donghu forest site. The latter discovery pushed back the history of chestnut rice cultivation to about 10,000 years ago. Hearing this young girl's words, Xiao Pingan knew that the Shinnong clan was indeed a god. The earliest millets should have been selected and cultivated by the Shinnong clan from the weeds. "Sister, be gentle, be gentle. You'll know in the future that these weeds can really eat." Xiao Pingan cried out in pain and hurriedly stood up. After fusing with the Realm Pearl twice in a row, Xiao Pingan had become more and more familiar with the role-playing game in the Realm Pearl. "If this week can fill my stomach, I'll listen to whatever you say in the future," the girl said fiercely. She didn't believe Xiao Pingan's words at all. "If it can't, then listen to me and find something to do. Although Amma is the head of the clan, you can't just wander around all day and wander around." Sure enough, Xiao Pingan had previously guessed that the Shinnong clan had so much time to invent and research herbs. There was a high probability that they had already broken away from heavy physical labor and didn't have an urgent need to survive. Therefore, they had the time and energy to research things that others couldn't. Now it seemed that it was indeed so. The Shinnong clan's mother was the female clan leader of this clan, and the Shinnong clan should be one of the earliest ancient aristocrats. In a matriarchal society, the status of the women in the tribe was relatively high. The clan leader of the tribe was always a woman. For example, his fierce sister might inherit the position of clan leader in the future. According to some historical records, the Shinnong clan might be the key figure in the transition from a matriarchal society to a patrilineal society in ancient China due to their outstanding contributions. Some historical records said that the Shinnong clan had 17 generations, and the last Shinnong clan was the Yin Emperor. Some historical records also said that the Yin Emperor was from the Zhuxiang clan and was the most important minister of Fuxi. Fuxi abdicated to the Yin Emperor, which was why the Yin Emperor established the prosperity of the world. These historical legends and information flashed through Xia Pingan's mind. At this time, it was not the time for archaeology research, but the task to complete. Seeing that the young girl's hand that was pulling his ear did not loosen, Xiao Pingan hurriedly said, "I've already thought of what to do, and I'm about to tell Mother." "Really?" The hand that was pulling Xiao Pingan's ear suddenly loosened. The young girl asked curiously, "What do you want to do?" It's a secret. You'll know it later. What I'm going to do will definitely be praised by everyone in the tribe." The young girl looked at Xiao Pingan suspiciously. Xiao Pingan did not explain and just smiled. "Okay, then I'll see how you explain it to Mother when you go back." The young girl did not believe him at all, but her hand that was pulling Xiao Pingan's ear loosened. After that, Xiao Pingan rubbed his ear and followed the young girl back to the tribe. When he saw the tribe before, he already knew what he had to do first. The Shinnong clan had made a lot of contributions in their lifetime. He had just arrived here, and to shoulder the historical mission of the Shinnong clan, he had to first establish his prestige in the tribe. Teaching people how to grow grains, identify herbs, raise silkworms, and weave cloth was not something that could be achieved in a few days. However, there was one thing that was easy to do, and if he did it well, he could rapidly establish his prestige in the entire tribe. What's more, it was very simple. When they passed by those houses in the tribe, Xiao Pingan carefully observed the things that were hung outside the houses. Looking at the quantity and types of supplies that different families had, he became more and more certain. Chapter 36. In the center of the tribe, in the courtyard surrounded by the largest reed and mud, Xiao Pingan met his mother, the head of the tribe, and also had his first meal since he came to this world. The mother of the Shinnong clan was a kind but not dignified woman. Her eyes were kind and wise, and she sat straight at home. The scepter in her hand and the strong female guards beside her would never let anyone look down on her. When Xiao Pingan spoke out his thoughts, everyone in the room stared at him with their eyes wide open in disbelief. Mutual exchange? What is that? Taking out everyone's things for others to take? How can people be willing to do that? The head of the Shinnon clan looked at Xiao Pingan as she pondered. After all, what Xiao Pingan just said was something that no one had ever thought of before, and it took them a little effort to understand it. Mother, the purpose of trading is to let people in our tribe exchange things with each other. For example, I hunted a wild boar today. That wild boar meat can't be eaten by our family, and it will spoil after a long time. If I want a stone knife and some firewood, I can take out the extra wild boar meat and exchange it with others for what I want. If someone wants to eat meat with more firewood, or a stonemason wants to eat meat with a polished stone knife, they can exchange their own things with me for the wild boar. Then who will exchange with you? Do you want to take the wild boar and ask them one by one? The elder sister of the Shinnon clan asked. It was the first time for everyone to hear about such a thing that had never appeared before, and it was hard for them to understand. We don't need to ask them one by one. We just need to find a place in the tribe and gather everyone who wants to exchange something. Let them go there and see how they want to exchange their own things for other people's things. How much they want to exchange and how little they want to exchange will be discussed by both parties. As long as both parties agree to the exchange, I think everyone will be willing. After Xiao Pingan's detailed explanation, the matriarch quickly understood. The matriarch's eyes brightened as she looked at Xiao Pingan with a gratified look. She was quite moved by Xiao Pingan's suggestion. More importantly, Xiao Pingan's suggestion today made the matriarch understand that her son had finally grown up and could share the burden of the tribe in her. I'll leave the matter of organizing the tribal market to you. You can try. I'll arrange 2 more people to help you and listen to your orders. How many days will it take to finish the tribal market? It can be done in 3 days. Xiao Pingan said confidently. All right, let's see the results in 3 days. After saying that, the female clan head turned around and whispered something to her bodyguards. Only after a short while, the female clan head's bodyguards had brought 2 helpers to Xiao Pingan and told them to follow Xiao Pingan's orders these days. Xiao Pingan excitedly left the house with his 2 helpers. But on the same night, almost everyone in the tribe heard that in a few days, there would be a fair in the tribe, where everyone could exchange things. What was a fair? What was a mutual market? No one in the tribe knew about it, but everyone felt it was a novelty. In the next 2 days, Xiao Pingan had his people constantly create public opinion in the tribe, spreading the benefits of the bazaar and how to exchange for things in the bazaar. At the same time, he had his people casually find a large open space in the tribe and set up several wooden stakes around the open space, using grass and wood ashes to encircle it. In this era, there was no entertainment in the tribe, and it was very boring. For the people in the tribe, in addition to eating and sleeping, they would hunt, pick wild fruits, chop firewood, or sharpen stone knives. Even if they could take a break, they would just be in a daze and have nothing to do. Hearing that there was going to be a fair in the tribe, and that in 3 days, at noon, everyone could take their things to the fair to exchange for other people's things. The people in the tribe became excited and were full of curiosity and expectation about this novelty. Xiao Pingan told those who wanted to exchange things to bring straw mats and their things to the fair in 3 days. When they came to the fair, they would put their straw mats on the ground and put their things on the straw mats so that they could exchange things with others. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. 3 days later, in the middle of the day, the place where Xiao Pingan had prepared the market was packed with people from the tribe. Almost all of the people in the tribe came out of their nests, and all of them rushed to the market set up by Xiao Pingan. Some came to exchange things, and some came to watch the fun. In the beginning, they did not know how to exchange things with others. Xiao Pingan took the lead and used some meat that his brother had caught to exchange for some firewood and straw mats. The 2 underlings arranged by Xiao Pingan also used the firewood and meat to exchange for some things. With someone taking the lead and setting an example, everyone understood that this market was a place where people could exchange their own things for other people's things. This method was really good. When everyone gathered together, they could exchange anything with each other. Soon, with Xiao Pingan taking the lead, others also tried to exchange their own things for what they needed. The fair on the grassland became lively all of a sudden. Seeing the world's first fair with his own eyes, Xiao Pingan sighed with emotion. The ancestors of Huaxiao were pragmatic and brave to innovate. Unlike the messy sayings of later generations, which degraded the status of merchants and craftsmen to be worthless. According to some traditions, the Shinon clan, one of the three emperors, was the founding ancestor of merchants, farmer, craftsman, and doctor. They were also the patron saint of these professions. The Shinon clan led these ordinary people to create the history of Huaxia civilization. No wonder Laozi said, "When the great Tao is useless, there is benevolence and righteousness, and when wisdom comes, there is great hypocrisy." Sometimes, when there are too many experts, the black and white in this world will be reversed. Everyone in the tribe burst out with great enthusiasm for being able to exchange their own things for others. The tribal fair was a great success on the first day. Those who participated in the exchange felt that they had gained benefits and benefits. In the following month, Xiao Pingan held an exchange every 5 days in the tribe. Each exchange greatly facilitated the lives of the people in the tribe. After holding 7 or 8 exchanges successfully, Xiao Pingan's prestige in the tribe suddenly rose. The manpower assigned to him by his mother had increased from the initial 2 to 4. With more manpower, a lot of things were easier to handle. Xiao Pingan began to lead people around the tribe to look for clay suitable for firing pottery, and they quickly found it. With clay, firing pottery was put on Xiao Pingan's schedule. In this era, firing pottery was actually very simple. As long as you found the clay, even if there was no cave, you could fire it by piling a pile of firewood on the flat ground. Looking at the temperature of the pottery that was unearthed in the later generations, many of the buried pottery were fired by piling firewood on the flat ground. There was no kiln at all. Of course, Xiao Pingan would not be so crude. He led people to dig a simple clay kiln that was taller than a person on the hillside. Inside the clay kiln, firewood could be piled up to fire pottery. Xiao Pingan played with the clay for a whole day. He made some crudely made bowls and plates out of the clay, preparing to use them as the first batch of pottery to be fired. Then he asked people to find some firewood. Finally, Xiao Pingan put the bowls and dishes he had made out of clay in the kiln, and then piled up the firewood. After burning for 2 or 3 hours, his first batch of pottery was fired, and he succeeded in one try. A few days later, when Xiao Pingan took the first batch of bowl-shaped pottery he made to the exchange, the whole tribe was stirred up again. That bowl was good. It could hold water and food. It looked very expensive. In an era where there were almost no containers, the sensation brought by the first batch of pottery was beyond Xiao Pingan's imagination. The way the people in the tribe looked at the clay bowls and plates made by Xiao Pingan was like how modern people looked at a pile of diamonds. Many people were willing to pay a huge price in exchange for a pottery bowl. With pottery, cooking and food could be diversified, and many foods and things could be stored in a better way. Just by exchanging the first batch of pottery bowls and plates, Xiao Pingan found that it only took him 1 day to become the richest man in the tribe, and his prestige went up a level. The Shinon clan started off smoothly. In less than a month, Xiao Chang'an had completed 2 major events. With things, achievements, prestige, and people listening to him, it would be easy to invent and lead people to farm and open up wastelands. Chapter 37. For days later, in the secret chamber of the safe house, Xiao Pingan opened his eyes. His eyes were still a little dazed, as if he had just woken up from a dream. He once again took a look at the summoner's secret mandala that had just been completely condensed in his sea of consciousness. That mandala, after integrating with the God's Realm bead, had expanded by hundreds of times compared to before. It had evolved into an ancient tribe that occupied an area of more than 1 square kilometer. In the middle of the tribe, there was a temple that looked simple and dignified. It was built with stone and huge wood. This temple, compared to the previous cave and thatched hut, showed a bit of grandeur. Outside the temple, there were 7 more granite steps. The divine fire in the temple was burning fiercely and had turned into a huge fire altar that spewed out from the ground. On the jade wall of the temple, there were more reliefs of the Shinnon clan. In the sky above the temple, there was a huge caisson dome. Below the caisson was the divine fire, and above the caisson, there were golden divine light balls. Xiao Pingan had gained 30 points of divine power from integrating with the God's Realm bead. In addition to the previous 40 points of divine power, the golden divine light balls added up to 70 points of divine power. The reliefs of the Shinnon clan depicted the Shinnon clan leading countless tribal people to open up wastelands for farming and the scene of the tribe's prosperity. Several tribal elders were full of excitement, half kneeling in front of the Shinnon clan, holding the harvested rice, millet, wheat, and other crops in their hands. There were also some technicians next to them, holding all kinds of utensils in their hands, such as pottery, arrows, and spears. There were also some people holding all kinds of medicinal herbs picked from the wastelands, and some musicians playing musical instruments. Everyone was happy. Everyone surrounded the Shinnon clan, like stars surrounding the moon. Among them, there was a farmer holding rice, millet, and wheat in his hands, a technician holding a clay pot in his left hand and an arrow in his right hand, and a character carrying a medicine basket with a lot of medicinal herbs in it. They were particularly vivid, as if they could walk out of the relief. When Xiao Pingan touched them with his consciousness, the 3 of them seemed to be able to walk down from the jade wall tree. These should be the 3 character summoning slots that he had obtained this time: a farmer, a technician, and a pharmacist. On the other hand, the tribe outside the temple was a completely different scene. Beside the tribe, there were distant green mountains and flowing rivers. There were also people and houses that were faintly discernible like ink and wash paintings. There were thousands of families and large tracts of farmland. Xiao Pingan could see that the people in the tribe were living, farming, crafting stone tools, boiling salt, making hemp, burning pottery, and gathering herbs. Everything in the secret mandala in his mind was very similar to what he saw when he left the Shinnon clan. Outside the secret mandala, the black fog was still rolling, full of the unknown and mysterious. Was this the summoner's secret mandala? Xiao Pingan's heart was filled with shock. For Xiao Pingan, who had just become a summoner, the mystery and vastness of the summoner's world had just revealed the tip of the iceberg. In the realm bead of the gods, Xiao Pingan had done his best. He boiled salt for the tribe and taught the people in the tribe how to preserve meat with salt. He taught the people in the tribe how to convert hemp into cloth and use cloth to make better clothes. He made bows and arrows so that the people in the tribe could have bows and arrows. He also taught the people in the tribe how to use bamboo pipes to make blow darts for hunting. He invented the Leishi farming method and allowed the tribe to have agriculture and food production. He tasted all kinds of herbs and almost completely recited the Shinnong's 100 Herbs Classic. He composed a zither and set the rhythm of the 5 notes of Gong Shang Jiaojiu. He brewed tea with pottery, detoxified poison, and saved people. He made countless instructions and taught countless people. Before the world and the realm bead dissipated, he was already the most prestigious and knowledgeable person in all the tribes within a radius of thousands of miles. He had already received the great name of the Shinnon clan, and tens of thousands of tribes had submitted to him. However, even so, he was still unable to fully display the merits and contributions of the Shinnon clan. There was still a flaw. This time, the integration of the realm bead of the gods could not be called perfect. This flaw and imperfection was the calendar set by the Shinnon clan. The calendar set by the Shinnon clan was the Guizhong calendar, but the Guizhong calendar had long been lost. Even Xiao Pingan could not restore the Guizhong calendar. Xiao Pingan had only heard that the 12 trigrams of the Shinnon clan's Guizhong calendar were formed into a Tai Chi diagram. However, he did not know how it evolved and how it was formed, and how it was used to determine the astronomical calendar. Perhaps no one in this world knew. He did not fully display the historical contributions and achievements of the Shinnon clan, one of the three emperors of Huaxia in the realm bead. Therefore, the integration this time could not be called perfect. He only received 30 points of divine power. If he had perfectly integrated the realm bead of the gods, he would have received 36 points of divine power. At this moment, Xiaoping's heart was filled with regret, awe, and satisfaction. That I was in awe of the wisdom of the ancient people of Huaxia. As for satisfaction, it was the satisfaction of a person who had been immersed in the history of Huaxia for most of his life, following the footsteps of the ancient people, standing on the shoulders of giants, and witnessing and even creating the history of Huaxia with his own eyes. As for regret, it was because even in the realm bead, he could not see a trace of the mystery of the Guizhong calendar. This feeling was very subtle. From now on, I am a real summoner. Xiaoping opened his eyes and muttered to himself. He was a little excited. After integrating these 3 realm beads, he could integrate other realm beads without any restrictions in the future. Xiaoping stood up, and a series of cracking sounds came from his muscles and bones again. At this moment, this body already had a feeling of emptiness and strength completely fusing together. It was very good. He opened the safety door of the secret room, walked out of the secret room, and went to the basement of the villa. Then, he took the elevator to go up, and found that the villa was empty. Yin Duo was not in the villa, and he was the only person in the villa. Warm sunlight shone in from the window. Looking at the time, it was morning. Xiaoping took out his phone and checked that there were more than 20 missed calls and 2 messages on his phone. There were more than 20 missed calls, and most of them were from Xiaoning. There were also 2 calls from the landlord, and the time span was 3 days. Of the 2 messages, one was sent by Xiaoning yesterday, and the other was sent by Mo Yanxiao yesterday. Xiaoping first clicked on the message sent by Xiaoning. Brother, I called you for the past few days, but you didn't pick up. I was so worried. I called the Shanghai City Committee of Order to ask about your situation, and they said that you were on a mission. Are you okay? Xiaoping secretly sweated. He had been integrating the realm bead of the gods for the past few days, and he did not expect that Xiaoning would call him so many times. Looking at those messages, Xiaoping replied to Xiaoning, I'm fine, I'm very good. It's just that I couldn't contact you for the past few days. Don't worry, I'll go home and cook for you this weekend. A few seconds after the message was sent, Xiaoning replied instantly. You're such an adult, and you still want your sister to worry about you? Really? Grimace. Looking at the grimace at the back of Xiaoning's message, Xiaoping smiled. He then looked at Mo Yanxiao's message. Give me a call after you've successfully integrated the realm bead of the gods, and I'll get a helicopter to pick you up. Xiaoping directly dialed Mo Yanxiao's number. In less than 2 seconds, the call was connected. How is it? Mo Yanxiao asked on the other side of the phone. The integration has been successful, Xiaoping said. Mo Yanxiao on the other side of the phone let out a long sigh. Good. You can go back to the provincial headquarters directly. Our helicopter will arrive in an hour. Also, don't believe that bastard Yin Duo's words. Okay. After ending the call with Mo Yanxiao, Xiaoping dialed the landlord's number. After waiting for 7 or 8 seconds, the landlord finally picked up after hearing the phone ring. Hello, Uncle Hong? I'm Xiaoping. Xiaoping's call to the landlord was very polite. He and Xiaoning had been living in the apartment for many years. The landlord was a kind person. He knew that the 2 siblings had no parents and had never increased Xiaoping's rent. The rent had increased a few times over the years, and it was Xiaoping who took the initiative to raise it. Xiaoping had always been very polite to the landlord. Pingon, the landlord's gentle voice came from the other side of the phone. I called you twice 2 days ago, but I couldn't get through. I'm sorry, Uncle Hong. I had something to do a few days ago and didn't bring my phone. All right, I've already asked Xiaoning to transfer this month's rent to you. I've received the rent. I'm calling you not to talk about the rent, but to tell you something. I've sold the apartment that I rented to you. From this month onwards, the new owner will be collecting rent from you." Uncle Hong was still a little embarrassed over the phone. He explained to Xia Pingan, "I'm getting old and I don't want to stay in the city. I want to live in the countryside for a few years and take care of my daughter's grandchildren for a few years. So I sold the apartment in the city to someone else. Uncle Hong, it's okay. You should enjoy a few years of peace and quiet. I'll contact the new owner about the rent. Thank you for taking care of us all these years, Uncle Hong." Okay, then there's nothing else. Haha, I didn't take care of much. You two siblings are fastidious and clean. You don't cause any trouble. I'm living in the countryside in Wooding. Come over if you have time. Okay. Chapter 38. Summoners were humans too. Humans couldn't avoid these trivial matters. If a summoner wanted to rent a house, they had to pay rent. Moreover, Xia Pingan wasn't a summoner yet. Xia Pingan laughed at himself. He didn't take the matter of the new landlord to heart. The new landlord could just increase the rent by a few hundred yuan. He didn't mind. After ending the call and putting down the phone, Xia Pingan went straight to the bathroom and took a bath. According to Dr. Huang, this was the last time the impurities were expelled from the body. It was equivalent to changing the meridians, washing the marrow, and being reborn. In the future, after successfully fusing with other realm beads, although there would still be the impurities in the body, there wouldn't be any more impurities being expelled. After taking a bath and drying his hair, Xia Pingan changed into a set of clean clothes and walked out feeling refreshed. He saw that Yin Duo was already sitting in the living room. He probably came back while he was taking a bath. "I didn't expect you to take 4 days to fuse with the God Realm bead." Yin Duo looked at Xia Pingan's complexion and laughed. "Looks like you've successfully fused with it this time." "And I was lucky." Xia Pingan was already packing his things. "If there's nothing else, I'll be returning to Xianghe today." Yin Duo didn't even ask about Xia Pingan's fusing with the God Realm bead. He just nodded. "There's nothing else here. I'll bring you to the provincial department later." "All right." Yin Duo's expression suddenly turned serious. "But you should consider my previous suggestion carefully. You've already completely condensed the Foundation Realm bead and become a summoner. But the summoning techniques you've mastered are still very simple. You've only mastered a few basic summoning techniques. In the future, if you want to improve your god power and strength and master more summoning techniques, you'll have to continuously fuse with other realm beads. I know your director Mo is worried that I'll poach him and must have reminded you. But if you follow me, I won't dare to say much about other things, but if it's realm beads, I can at least get you 2 realm beads in a year. If you agree to come, I can get you a slave soldier realm bead tomorrow." Slave soldier realm pearl? Yes, after fusing with it, you'll be able to summon slave soldiers. This slave soldier realm pearl is also one of the summoner's favorite realm pearls. The failure rate of fusing with the slave soldier realm pearl is less than 1%, and the success rate is the highest. Once you fuse with it, in addition to the fireball technique, you will have another summoning slot that can be used directly for battle. Your ability to protect yourself and deal with unexpected situations will greatly increase. If you return to Fragrant River, you may only get the chance to fuse with the Slave Soldier Realm Pearl next year. Xiao Pingan thought for a while. I will consider your suggestion, but I still want to go back to Xianghe now. It doesn't matter. My door is always open for you." Yin Duo wasn't disappointed. He nodded calmly. Poaching wasn't something that could be done with just a few words. It was a gradual process of building trust. Yin Duo had plenty of experience in this regard, so he wasn't in a hurry. "May I ask, how many types of realm pearls are there?" Thinking of the secret mandala that he had just successfully condensed, Xia Pingan's heart skipped a beat, and he asked. At present, more than 3,600 different types of realm pearls have been discovered and recorded. This number is still increasing. Summoners can often see more than 100 types of realm pearls, but ordinary summoners may not be able to fuse more than 100 realm pearls in their lifetime. So many. Xia Pingan was a little shocked. It sounds like a lot, but in fact it's not much. Some realm pearls are common, and there are many of them. Some realm pearls are uncommon, and there are few of them. Ordinary people can't find them. Are there any precedents of successful fusing with these rel pearls? Some have, some haven't, and some don't know if there are any. Yin Duo summarized concisely. Some summoners have successfully fused with some rare realm pearls, and they have mastered special abilities and special summoning slots. They're also secretive, so it's difficult for others to know. Xiao Pingon nodded and picked up his bag. I see. I understand. Let's go. Yin Duo drove Xiao Pingon to the headquarters of Ezhou Province's Committee of Order. Within a few minutes, the helicopter from Xiang'an City arrived. Xiao Pingon boarded the helicopter and waved goodbye to Yin Duo. The helicopter didn't stay for a moment longer. As soon as Xiao Pingon boarded the helicopter, it took off and flew towards Xiang'an City. Just after the helicopter left, an old man appeared beside Yin Duo at some point in time. The old man was hale and hearty. His hair was meticulously combed. He was wearing a black striped, double-breasted suit and shiny leather shoes. He was full of gentlemanly demeanor. Both of his hands were holding a dragon-headed walking stick. He raised his head and looked at the helicopter slowly flying away with a special gaze. Just like what Mrs. Qian said, this kid is not bad. He has a lot of things hidden on him. Even Mrs. Qian couldn't completely see through him. It's a waste to leave him in Xiang'an City. Looking at the helicopter flying away, the old man secretly said in his heart. As soon as the old man appeared, Yin Duo's handsome face suddenly showed a flattering smile. Cough, cough, old man, how was my mission this time? The garbage clearing mission has been successfully completed. Is there any reward from the provincial department? I haven't seen a new realm pearl in a long time. I don't know, I haven't settled the score with you for the mistake you made in the mission in Japan last time. The base in Antarctica is still short of a lamplighter. How about I transfer you to Antarctica to train for a few years? The old man's casual words made Yin Duo swallow all the words he wanted to say. Ha, I'm kidding. The flattering smile on Yin Duo's face had turned into flattery. He even bent down a little. It's just a small matter. I didn't do much. How can I ask for a reward? If you don't have any orders, I'll take my leave first. Yin Duo said and wanted to slip away. Well, before you leave, remember to go to the finance department and hand in the money you won from the Death Corner fighting ring. There should be 60 million, right? That's your illegal gains from the mission, not the mission reward. The old man said calmly. Don't, old man. I've been so poor recently that I can't even open a pot. I only played a little. Leave some for me. Seeing that I've been running around, let me earn some money for my hard work. Yin Duo's face instantly turned bitter. Is that so? If you go to Antarctica, you won't be able to spend money even if you have it. Don't. I'll go turn it in, okay? Didn't I just win 60 million? I won't take a single cent that I shouldn't have earned. Yin Duo said righteously. He didn't dare to stay for a moment longer, afraid that the old man would say something that would scare him. He had already slipped away. The old man looked at the distant sky, a strange light flashing in his eyes. He muttered to himself, 3 Foundation Establishment Realm Beads, 2 Perfect Fusion, and a summoner who completed the Foundation Establishment with 70 points of divine power. It's been many years since someone like that has appeared. Xiao Pingon, we'll meet again soon. An hour later, Xiao Pingon returned to the National Order Association in Xiang'an City. The helicopter landed on the helipad at the top of the building. Xiao Pingon carried his bag and got off the helicopter. He saw Mo Yinxiao waiting outside the helipad. At this time, it was only 10 in the morning. Mo Yinxiao and the rest had just returned a few hours ago. The others were probably still catching up on sleep. I heard that you completed the mission well this time. Mo Yinxiao stared at Xiao Pingon with a strange expression. He had already seen the video of the battle between Xiao Pingon and the Brown Bear Butcher. The performance of the Black Cobra in Xiao Pingon's hands had shocked him. He didn't expect Xiao Pingon's ability to use a whip to such an extent. The tail of the Black Cobra's steel whip was like a bullet in Xiao Pingon's hands. Its power was too shocking. I'm just lucky. Xiao Pingon didn't have any arrogance on his face. Instead, he said humbly, Did that bastard Yin Duo try to trick you? Mo Yinxiao asked directly. Xiao Pingon laughed. Mo Yinxiao understood and cursed silently. That bastard Yin Duo was still the same. Once he crossed the river, he would burn the bridge. Thinking of Xia Pinggan's Requiem banner, Mo Yanxiao was really afraid that Xia Pinggan would be abducted by Yin Duo. As the two of them walked towards the elevator, Mo Yanxiao said to Xia Pinggan, Yin Duo formed a small operation team in the provincial department. The work he does is more complicated and very dangerous. It's not something an ordinary summoner can do. You should be interested in the ability of your Requiem banner. You just became a summoner, so you should first stay in the Committee of Order for 2 years to familiarize yourself with the various aspects of the situation and steadily improve your strength. There's no need to rush into taking risks. I've already applied for a new Realm Pearl from the provincial department. When you perform well, the provincial department will probably give you a slave soldier Realm Pearl very soon. Since Mo Yanxiao had already said this, Xia Pinggan also expressed his stance. Thank you, Director. I feel that I'm doing well in Xianghe City. I have no plans to leave. Mo Yanxiao secretly sighed in relief. You just became a summoner. You can go home and have a good rest this weekend. When next Monday begins, you will officially join the Special Operations Division. These days, Xianghe City has been a little strange. There may be more missions later on. Be prepared. Light up? Yes, there's still some investigation work. Okay, your work ID and special equipment have been sent down. You can go to Laozhou to collect them. The elevator door opened and reached the 9th floor. After giving a few instructions to Xia Pinggan, Mo Yanxiao and Xia Pinggan parted ways. From beginning to end, Mo Yanxiao did not ask Xia Pinggan about the situation after fusing with the Realm Pearl of the Gods. Was this the tacit understanding and unspoken rules between summoners? Unless the other person took the initiative to mention it, they would generally not ask about the fusion of the Realm Pearl and the secret mandala. Looking at Mo Yanxiao's back as he left, Xia Pinggan had a new understanding of the tacit understanding between summoners. Even Yin Duo did not ask much about it. Xia Pinggan first returned to his room 963 and put down his luggage in the room. He took out the Black Cobra and placed it on the weapon rack. After that, he left the room and went to the equipment department on the 7th floor of B6. There was no one in the superstore in the equipment department. There was only a cute robot walking around. Only the sound of machines and sparks could be faintly heard from the CNC machine room at the back. Xia Pinggan did not wait too long. He only wandered around a few stores for 1 or 2 minutes. Then he saw Laozhou, who was wearing a pair of goggles and taking off his gloves, walking out from the back of the store. Chapter 39. Seeing Xia Pinggan, Laozhou grinned. Kid, I heard you used that Black Cobra to kill a scumbag in Xinchuan a few days ago. Haha, Uncle Zhou, you're well informed. Xia Pinggan laughed. Oh, right. I just fused with the Celestial Realm bead this morning. I'm now a summoner. Not bad, not bad. I knew you were a promising kid. That Black Cobra is the best match for you. Laozhou walked over, took off his goggles, and put his gloves aside. He reached under a counter and took out 2 suitcases, one silver and one black, and put them on the counter. The things inside are all yours. The headquarters just sent them out. You'll need them in the future. Take a look. If there's no problem, sign here. Laozhou took out another list. Xia Pinggan opened the silver suitcase first. He was shocked by the things inside. The silver suitcase was divided into 2 layers. The top layer contained more than 10 work IDs, and the bottom layer contained more than 10 passports. The most eye-catching item on top of the IDs was a small black book with a dragon pattern sword and shield emblem of the Committee of Order. Xia Pinggan took the small book and flipped it open. He saw his anti-counterfeiting profile picture and the eye-catching seal of the National Committee of Order. Great Yin Republic National Committee of Order Work ID name. Xia Pinggan Ability Profession. Summoner Serial Number. Division A361718150. This small black book was very impressive. It was also a prop that often appeared in various movies and TV series. In those movies and TV series, as long as the character showed this ID, they would have priority in law enforcement and could freely enter almost all non-national secret agencies and places. Moreover, all law enforcement agencies and government agencies had to cooperate with them. Is this my work ID? Holding the work permit that symbolized authority and heavy responsibility, Xiao Pingan's heart was filled with mixed feelings. From the moment he received this ID, he had officially become a summoner of the National Committee of Order in the Fire Country. He had joined the big family that relied on the government. Kid, don't just stand there. You won't be able to use this ID much. You might not even be able to take it out once in a few years. This is your level 1 ID in the Committee of Order. Those scenes in movies and TV series are just for kids. Look at other IDs. Other IDs will be more useful. Lao Zhou reminded him. Xiao Pingan smiled and put down the ID. Then he picked up a small book with a dark blue cover with the words gun certificate written on it. He opened the small notebook, and there was still his anti-counterfeiting photo, the seal of the relevant government agencies in the country of fire, and his identification number. This was a level 1 certificate. The most useful part of the document was the sentence in the document. This certificate is the legal certificate for the holder to openly possess and use pistols, automatic weapons, and all other special firearms with a caliber no larger than 12.7 millimeters in the 56 provinces and 2 overseas territories of the Great Yin Republic. Xiao Pingan read this sentence several times. The gun certificate in the Great Fire Country was divided into 3 levels. The Level 3 certificate could only allow the holder to possess special pistols. The Level 2 certificate could allow the holder to possess automatic weapons. The Level 1 certificate could allow the holder to possess the widest range of firearms, including almost all light weapons with a caliber lower than 12.7 millimeters. Remember the serial number of the certificate. You don't have to carry it with you. If you want to carry a gun out in the future, just remember the serial number of the certificate. If you encounter the police or other law enforcement agencies, just report the serial number of the certificate. Lao Zhou reminded him. Xiao Pingan nodded. He put down the certificate and picked up another document. This document was a reporter certificate. It was issued by the Light Valley News Agency of the Great Yin Republic. The Light Valley News Agency was the official news agency of the Great Fire Country. It was one of the 5 largest news agencies and media groups in the world. It was an organization on par with Agence France-Presse, TASS News Agency, Xinhua News Agency, DPA News Agency, and others. They had many television stations, newspapers, and websites under them. Apart from the reporter certificate, there were more than 10 other documents, such as the police certificate, the detective certificate, the lawyer certificate, the environmental inspection certificate, the psychologist certificate, and so on. There was even a Feng Shui Master Certificate issued by the Great Fire Country's Feng Shui Master Association. The person in the certificate was Xiao Pingan. Apart from the documents, there were more than 10 passports in the box. Some were from Great Yin, and some were from other countries. Naturally, the person in the passports was also Xiao Pingan. Are these documents real? Xiao Pingan asked Lao Zhou. Of course they're real. These documents are your secondary work documents from the Committee of Order. Apart from not going to work in these places and not being paid by these places, these documents can withstand any kind of inspection. There's no problem at all. Most of the time, the people from the Special Operations Division of the Committee of Order use other identities when they go out on missions. They use the reporter certificate and the police certificate more often. This way, they won't cause panic among the ordinary people. Xiao Pingan finally understood. Previously, he heard from Mo Yin Xiao that the people from the Special Operations Division used different identities when they went out. They had many aliases. He thought that it was just a bluff. He did not expect that the aliases prepared by the Committee of Order for the Special Operations Division were so watertight that no one could find any problems with them. What about these passports? These passports are also useful. Don't tell me you think that you'll only be carrying out missions in Shanghai City forever. It's very common for the summoners of the Special Operations Division to carry out special missions in and out of the country. Sigh, the identities of those special agents are just like this, right? Xiao Pingan sighed. How can special agents be compared to summoners? A special agent will use at most 2 or 3 documents to hide their identity. How can they have as many as we have? Moreover, The special agent passports are basically fake official passports. Ours are all real. Lao Zhou glared at him with an expression that said, "When special agents go overseas, they're like rats on the street. When we go overseas, people are eagerly waiting and warmly welcoming us." How can you compare? You're a summoner now, so you have to have the awareness of a summoner. It's always others who beg us, but we've never begged others. Summoners travel all over the world to drink and eat meat. Yes, yes, yes. Uncle Zhou, you're right. I was wrong. Xiao Pingon immediately admitted his mistake with a smile. He did not expect Lao Zhou to have such a strong sense of collective honor. Put these documents in your office. You can choose which documents to bring out according to your needs. Okay. Xiao Pingon nodded and then opened the black box next to him. Xiao Pingon opened the black box next to him. There was an antique bronze lotus lamp inside. Seeing this antique lamp, Xiao Pingon's eyes moved. The shape of this antique lamp, in Xiao Pingon's eyes, was exactly the same as the antique lamp of Northern Qi unearthed from Wang Jiafeng's tomb in Taiyuan City. Could this be a coincidence? But there was no Northern Qi in this world, and there was no Wang Jiafeng's tomb. But these two lamps were too similar. Xiao Pingon's eyes slowly became serious. He looked at Lao Zhou. "This is the lamplighter, the one." Old Zhou nodded as he looked at the lamp with a pious look. "That's the lamp. It was sent from the headquarters. This lamp is a rare magical item. Remember to use it carefully. I can't fix it if it's broken. Drip a drop of blood on the wick of the lamp, and it'll belong to you from now on. Remember, if you're alive, the lamp will be there even if you're not. If you're alive, you'll have the lamp. You should know how to use it. You should know how to use it." Xiao Pingon nodded and carefully took the bronze lotus lamp out of the groove in the box. From the outside, this lamp looked no different from an ordinary bronze lamp. There was nothing special about its weight, and its appearance could not be considered exquisite. But for some reason, looking at this lamp, he felt that it was somewhat special. After holding the lamp and looking at it for a while, Xiao Pingon twisted the ring on his finger, revealing a silver needle. In front of Lao Zhou, he pricked his finger and dripped 2 drops of blood onto the lamp. A few seconds later, the bronze lotus lamp flashed brilliantly, and Xiao Pingon's drop of blood was absorbed. Holding the lamp in his hand, Xiao Pingon's heart and lamp resonated. The antique lamp was faint, as if it was ready to be lit at any time by Xiao Pingon, releasing a brilliance to protect the safety of the place in the darkness. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.